Now, I always start this podcast, the Every FNFF podcast, which you're listening to right now. How was that?
That's pretty good.
That was a good intro.
Felt good.
I like it. Maybe the spirits within were the friends we made along the way. There we go. All right, real quick, I wanted to do a shout out real quick to my friend Gregory, who sent me a message at like 4 a.m. and said he liked listening to our podcast, and it made me feel very good. So this one's for you, Greg.
Woo, shout outs to Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Speaking of which, I am Curtis Ware, and that's all I have to say about myself.
I am Karl Germ.
And Alex over here on the ones and twos.
on the ones and twos.
Long time listener. First
If
time
you
player.
if you're on the all sevens in Final Fantasy VII, you get a giant attack power bonus.
Ooh.
So.
They use that in the speed run.
They do, I know. They do that on one of the bosses in a cave later. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
It's good.
Wow.
Shout out to FF7 speedrunners. One day we'll have you on this podcast, I swear it.
So this is week 4, and I hope this game's over soon because it's been we're running out of water in here.
We are trapped. We can't leave.
Right, we're running out of water and food. No one knows we're here.
It's starting to smell real weird.
It was smelling real weird before you got here.
Can't leave until we're done.
All right. So last time on the show, we climbed up the Shinra Tower. We got to the top of it, fought Hojo. We met Genova for the first time.
Fought Hojo's monster.
Yeah, it's actually not Hojo. It's Hojo's monster.
Actually, her name's not Zelda. It's Zelda's monster.
And so we're gonna pick up right after fighting Hojo's monster and rescuing Eris.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
So we just made our way back down to the 68th floor, and we're going to the 66th floor elevator.
Yep.
Does that sound about right?
Sounds about right.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much that goes on. Like, I think you mentioned it last week, but there's that guy who's like, "Oh, hey, I'm not your enemy. I'm just doing my job. Here, take this key card."
Yeah.
And
yeah.
like the only thing that you can really get on that floor is like several potions. I think it's like 4.
Yeah, right.
I was like, cool, items. That'll be good.
That nice man that gave us the key card. Surely nothing bad will happen to him
Of course.
or anyone else in the building.
One good turn always gets another, right?
That's right.
This game has a karma system, right?
Yeah, it just doesn't kick in until after Midgar, apparently. So yeah, we get down to the 66th floor. Is there anything else we wanted to say on the way down there? It's pretty
No, I don't think there's really...
pretty self-explanatory.
We're
Yeah.
out of here.
We're out of here. So we get on the elevator. We're getting ready to leave.
Getting away scot-free.
Getting away scot-free. All we had to do is just fight some monsters, but we're fine. And as soon as we step into the elevator, Rude from the Turks walks in right behind us.
Another dude from the Turks.
Mm-hmm. And Cloud says one of my favorite lines where he just turns around and says, "Hey, what is it?"
Is his name actually Rude? When I first played it, I thought it was like a descriptor. I was like, this
It's probably
Rude.
both.
Rude man.
Yeah, Rude.
No, his name is Rude. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a rude man.
A rude dude with a nasty tooth.
God, what if his last name is Dude?
That would be so good.
And I like his response to Cloud too.
Oh, it's
he
so
just
good.
says, "Would you press up, please?"
Yeah, and he does like a little point up.
yeah.
Like, yeah, we're going up.
It looked like he was
Yeah.
flexing with the low poly.
Oh,
yeah. They don't have fingers, so he's just like arm pumping.
Wasn't there a wrestler who like did that thing as a move? I don't know. Probably Hulk Hogan.
Are you saying that he was lifting the people's elbow?
Yeah, he took off his elbow
He's
pad.
a rock. That's who it is.
Okay.
So Cloud spells it out for you in case you don't know. This is a trap. And we are... So here, I have a question for everybody here, too. We just, like, went through a building and pulverized security guards and beat everybody, like, just took the crap out of everybody. And then am I supposed to believe that, like, just Rude is, like, I can take all these guys on? Because we, like, fade to black, and then we're all in handcuffs.
Yeah, that's another funny thing.
Well, we can't see his loadout.
Yeah, that's
He
fair.
can't see what his party is.
Yeah,
true.
he's already learned Omnislash.
And like, yeah, and Sang comes in as well.
Oh, that's right. That he
after
does.
It. So it's such a weird thing too. I guess maybe because in like the last episode, I don't know how much we went into it, but like how confident everyone in Shinra is. They're like, oh, we're on the floor above the 60th, so it's fine.
Yeah,
like we're
yeah.
completely safe. Like I wonder how much of that was like the element of surprise, even if you do like the thing that I did where you just bust in and fight everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, like none of the information from the lower floors even like gets to above the 60th floor. That there's even somebody busting into the building.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But either way, Rude and Sang are enough to capture the party.
Yeah, I love how cocky they are too. Like Sang comes in and he's like, "Oh, that must have been a real thrill for you."
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, you
yeah.
killed most of our security staff.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Must have been nice.
Fun
We had a
times
lot of
over.
fun. Yeah. And then we get so we fade to black. The party is now in handcuffs, and we are slowly marched to President Shinra's desk.
if you recall, the first time we saw this room where someone, I think it was
Someone slowly
Heidegger,
marched. Yeah.
he was just walking in, and it was like the longest march of all time. Well, you get that again, but
Yep.
now all of your friends.
I put it back. I put it on the Twitter so that everybody could see it. And like, it's not like that long. It's like 10 seconds. But the thing is, like, 10 seconds over like a couple feet, like, feels like a lot.
And with that good track playing, I forget. I think it's like the
yeah.
Shinra theme or something like
Yeah.
that. But it's just like the droning like piano note over and over again.
Yeah, it's really good.
So it's so it's everyone except Aerith.
Right. Yeah, she's actually not with us now. Yeah. Another thing that I noticed, Red is not handcuffed.
Yeah.
He could just fuck shit up right now.
Yeah, like he clearly can do that because he fucked up Hojo real good.
Yeah, he's like the dog lion, man. You can't put that stuff on him. He could just like fuck shit up right now. Red.
Yeah,
You-
come on.
You coward.
Calling him out.
I know,
That's
he's
right.
a gentleman.
Yeah.
That's true. He is
Yeah.
very gentlemanly.
Yeah.
I think his motivations are also unclear at this point too. Like he, I think they go into that a little bit more
Yeah.
in this section that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But we get some pretty important dialogue here.
Yeah. You're always way better at dialogue, so I'm gonna let you
Yeah, let me,
begin taking us
let me
through.
see here. So, the Cloud's like, "Hey, where's Aerith?" And President Shinra says that she's in a safe place and mentions that she's the last surviving ancient.
Yeah.
Which I think that might be the first. There was like mention of it before, but I think this is the first I guess
It's spelled out much more clearly.
I guess her
here.
mom at Aerith's house probably was another. But I think
Yeah,
last
yeah.
surviving is like the first time we heard that.
Maybe so. We also get a little bit more information about the ancients themselves.
Yeah.
This is the first time we actually hear like the name. Like ancients is kind of a like obviously at the time that they were around, they would not refer to themselves as the ancients.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Like we call ourselves the currents.
Like how World War I was originally called World War I.
yeah, right.
They were
right.
prepping for that sequel.
Exactly. Yeah.
She's the last surviving boomer.
But they call them the Cetra.
Yeah,
Right.
and they lived thousands of years ago, and now President Shinra says now they're just a forgotten page in history. So
Yep.
it's like a thing that not a lot of people even really presumably know about.
Right. And in response,
Shinra's coming to get us, I think.
yeah, if you can hear sirens out, if you can hear sirens on the podcast, it's Shinra.
Hold on.
Okay, we're safe for now. So in response to Shinra dropping this information, I think it's interesting that the next person to talk is Red.
Yeah.
And he knows who the Cetra are, and he goes, "Oh, wait, is she a survivor of the Cetra?"
Yeah, like he knows.
Yeah, so he's clued in about this information.
Yeah, and President Shinra just kind of talks a little more about like what kind of spilling their plan a little bit. He's saying that the ancients will show the way to the promised land.
Right.
And he's expecting a lot out of her.
Right. And then Red says, "Isn't that just a legend?"
Yeah.
And the way I kind of took it is it almost sounded like to me like he's trying to take a little bit of the piss out of his plan and be like, "Well, that's not really even real." It's,
Yeah.
like maybe Red knows that it is, but he's just like, maybe I can kind of put some doubt in his head about whether it's
I think,
real.
getting ahead a little bit, I think if anyone would know, it would probably be Red. But like
Right.
Tifa is also the same way, where she's like, I thought that was like, is that even real?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
She doesn't know if it's real.
Yeah, that's right.
But President Shinra's like, oh, it doesn't really matter if it's real or not. It's like way too appealing to not pursue.
Yeah, he says that. Yeah.
He says that it's like it's supposed to be very fertile, and if the land's fertile,
You know what that means.
and then Barrett's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, very times and he's all that means there's a lot of Mako there.
Yep.
And so he knows already what his plan is. So Shinra's been building these Mako reactors. They're going to be able to find the Promised Land, which is a place overflowing with Mako energy.
Yep.
And tap that thing out and build Neo Midgar there.
Yep.
And from there, essentially control the world because they'll be the only source of power.
Yep.
For the entire world.
So I'm a dum-dum. Is Mako just oil?
Essentially, it's
It's
power.
like living oil.
Yeah. They go more into details about what
Okay.
it actually is, I think, but
It has less calories than coconut oil.
Gotcha.
And a little bit healthier.
keeps you more hydrated than just regular water.
Yeah, you make some pasta with it.
You
But-
said a lot of maca earlier. I thought it was Moxie.
You got a lot of moxie.
I have a Moxie reactor. That's why I'm so charismatic.
Yeah, there's a nice little bit of dialogue though between Barrett and President Shinra where he says like "fuck you," like keep dreaming.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
President Shinra in true like shit heel form is just like, oh, don't you know?
Yeah,
like,
I have this on my screen right now.
These days, the only thing it takes for dreams to come true is money and power.
Man, what a world it must be to live in.
Yeah, that would
that
suck.
world. Ooh,
I'm glad that's not how things work.
Couldn't imagine what that's like.
So what was the purpose of bringing him to President Shinra?
What is the purpose of bringing him to President Shinra?
Is this just a cliche of just like, I'm going to explain everything to you and then put you away? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's just an asshole, and he's just like, I'm going to completely hedge my bets and just like make myself feel a little bit better by talking down to these people on the assumption that there will be no way that they can escape or possibly use this information to foil me later.
Well, if you need anything else, talk to my secretary.
Yo, that line
That
is
is so
good.
good.
Yeah, so they take the crew away. And everybody but Barrett goes willingly.
Yeah.
And Barrett's left behind and he goes, hey, I'm not done talking to you. We have a lot to talk about. And I love that Rude just grabs him and drags him away with Barrett like kicking and screaming.
It's great too because Barrett's got like a full head on Rude, and
Yeah,
like,
he-
he's much bigger.
he's
and
way
like,
bigger than
he's
Rude.
just getting like pushed. Like
Yeah,
Rude's got to be pretty
yeah.
fucking strong.
And for the listeners, I understand that, like, you know, some of you may not be playing along with us, so you may not like have the vision of what everybody exactly looks like. Rude is Pitbull.
yeah,
He is Mr. Worldwide.
he looks very much like that.
So yeah. But yeah, after everybody's off screen, Rude is taking Barrett away. President Shinra just walks up to like closer to the camera and just says, "If there's anything else, ... talk to my secretary." Yo, what a good burn!
How long? How long do you think he was sitting on that? He's like, oh,
That's why they brought everybody to President Shinra. He was
like,
like, "Yo,
if
I
those-
have this fucking great burn. I need to be able to use it.
those
Bring him up
fuckers-
here."
Those fuckers ever show their face here? I'm gonna own them.
Yeah, he was sitting on it for a long time, which is pretty good. It's
I
an
agree,
A
it's
plus
great.
burn. It's real good.
I fucking hate this guy, but I was like, damn, that was pretty good.
Right? Oh man.
So yeah, then everyone is just in some little prison cells.
Yeah. So real quick, I wanted to say two things.
Sure.
One, this next scene is my favorite part of the video game. Like,
yeah.
is my favorite section of all Final Fantasy VII. It has the most atmosphere.
Yep.
I feel like of any of the sections. I love it so much. Second thing is, I wanted to real quick bring this up. I thought this might be a good time to mention something that's been going on since the beginning of the game, but we won't get to the actual some of it until later, which is the date mechanics.
Sure.
Because this scene actually does play into that.
Yeah.
So throughout the game, it's unknown to you. It never tells you about it. There is a unseen score that's being kept throughout the game, and multiple actions that you take will influence a scene later on in the Gold Saucer. And so depending on what you say to everybody, what you say to Tifa, Eris, Marlene, and even Barrett, it will change the outcome of a scene that you get on a Ferris wheel in the Gold Saucer, which will be a couple episodes from now.
Yeah.
And the reason I wanted to bring it up right now is that when the team is in these cells, right? Everybody's in different cells. You have an option of who to talk to first, and the order in which you talk to people also changes that score.
I was wondering about that, and I'm glad you brought it up because I haven't like looked into how all of the mechanics of it all work.
Yeah.
But we've like mentioned in passing several times like this sort of thing. I think at one point I called it like a flirt mechanic, and we were just talking.
Yeah,
about
I know,
how-
and it's real. There really is a flirt mechanic.
yeah, like
in this
Cloud
game,
is always kind of flirting. Everyone's kind of flirting with Cloud. And,
yeah.
And it's not just, just for like a little like spice in the dialogue. It's more like it actually has a thing that
Right.
happens later. It affects things.
Yeah. So without having to go like too far into it, because I mean, I'm sure we'll get to that when we actually get to the scene that it changes. If you're playing along, Eris is highly favored in this. So she starts with like a plus 20 on this score. It's not quite that, but it's really high. And so if you want other scenes to play out, you kind of have to know about it in advance because the game is so trying to get that to happen.
Yeah, and I think I think the reason for it is like they wanted players to kind of choose their own like outcome of that. Like, well, if someone might favor this character over this character or whatever. So
right,
a little bit of that goes into it. I think like the main story one is, like you said, Aerith is favored, but
right, and everybody has a starting value that they'll begin with, and so there's different difficulties of getting the scene to play out different ways.
Yep.
Right, and so there's 4 characters that are in it. There's Aerith, Tifa, a character we haven't met yet, and Barrett. And so depending on people's actions throughout the course of the game, it can change that scene. Like I said, we won't go too much into it right now, but just wanted to let you guys know that because this is one of the scenes that changes that.
yeah.
So
The character we haven't met is Donald Duck, right?
it's Goofy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Donald Duck is in it, but Goofy is the one who this mechanic.
Look into
factors
Goofy's
into.
eyes and tell me that he wouldn't be the perfect date.
He's down to yuck.
Podcast is canceled. See y'all next week,
See you
everybody. Wait, hold on. Hit the button. Yeah. We have that on button. That's right.
Getting real
now hit the
fancy.
cancel button. There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
That should have just been in immediately after I said that.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you begin talking about this scene?
So I talked to Tifa first, just because you see kind of over the cells, and there's weirdly 6 cells, and there's only 5 of you, but they paired you up weirdly.
So you can talk to everyone, basically. They want you to be able to talk through the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They want you to be able to hatch an escape plan.
Yeah.
So all the way to the left is Aerith. She's just laying on her little cot thing, like very saint-like. I noticed, like she's kind of laying, going back into that kind of like purity thing we were talking about, and how it's cool how her character actually is. And then Tifa is laying on the bed in her cell with Cloud just standing there, and she's got her head, she's got her hands,
her head,
behind her
legs
head,
crossed, just chilling.
Yeah, she's just hanging out. And then in the other cell, it's just Barrett and Red 13,
and Bear's just sitting against the wall in like a mopey pose.
Yeah, and Red's just kind of chilling like a dog.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I talked to Tifa first, and she just says, like she's whispering to you, and she says, "Can we get out?" And you can say, "Leave it to me," or "Kind of hard."
Right, and I know that you can select both, but I just selected the one.
Yeah. Which one did you select?
Leave it to me.
Yeah, of course.
And she goes, "Oh, you're so brave."
You're so brave. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you know what the other one says? I don't know if I wrote that down.
Nope, I didn't.
Doesn't matter.
Hold on. I got it. Leave it to me.
The man with the
The
script.
fact checker.
Yeah, that's right.
So if leave it to me, you say, Cloud, you're so brave. And if you say kind of hard, don't give up.
Yeah, don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up, Cloud.
So then
Believe
I
me,
talked
believe
to Aerith next after Tifa. And, Aerith she goes, Cloud's in the other cell, realizes that you're over there. Because, everybody's in individual cells, so they don't know who's in the cells next to them, right? So I assume that, you as the player, since you can see over top of all the cells, you see where all the characters are, but you're kind of led to believe that they don't know that each other is, that they're all in the next cells.
Yeah.
So overhearing Cloud talk, Aerith realizes that Cloud's over there, and she's like, "Oh, Cloud, you're there," or whatever. And there's this scene that plays out where she goes, "Oh, I knew that Cloud would come for me," and he goes, "Well, I am your bodyguard."
Yep.
And she remembers the joke deal, or real deal that they made in the church, and she goes, "Well, our deal was for one date, wasn't it?" And she doesn't realize that Tifa's also in the same cell as Cloud.
Little messy.
Yeah. And so Tifa gets up and is like, "Oh, excuse me then."
So I think at first Tifa just kind of sits up and she goes, "Oh, I get it."
Oh, yeah,
And then Aerith is like,
Oh shit.
yeah,
Tifa's
she's like,
in there.
"Shit, Tifa, you're there too." And she goes, "Excuse me."
Yeah,
Which it doesn't have it doesn't have like an exclamation point.
Yeah.
So I kind of read it like Link in the old Zelda.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
That's how I got it too, yeah.
Well, excuse me, princess.
And then, without missing a beat, she's not too upset about it.
Right,
She's
right.
just like, "Oh wait, Aerith, does the Promised Land actually exist?"
Right. And
The
so
promised land is where the date happens.
Yeah.
That's what the
welcome
promise
back
is.
to my how you open that's like MTV's Cribs. They open their bedroom and they're always like, "This is where the magic happens." Like, yo, this is where the Mako flows.
You walk in and it's just playing the Promise, at the end of Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah. Oh, that song is so good.
That's a good song.
There's a great Real Big Fish cover of it too.
Oh wow.
It's so good. Anyway,
I'm guessing the horns do the keys.
yes, they do.
Fuck yeah.
It's so good. Everybody go listen to Real Big Fish's cover of The Promise.
And then
by
listen to the
When
real
in
version.
Rome?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. So When in Rome is playing during this whole scene.
So back at the beginning of the game, there's a poster on the wall, and it's for a When in Rome album cover
yeah.
for The Promise. Finally tying it back.
God, I wish. Oh, man. What a jam.
Hell
yeah, so Tifa asks Aerith, does the Promised Land really exist? And Aerith feels like it does, right? She says that when she was younger, her real mother told her that it was real, and she can hear it, right? She can hear the voices of the planet, and so there's reason to believe that it's real, but she doesn't actually know herself. She's never been there.
Yeah, she's not sure, but she knows that the Cetra were born from the planet. They speak with the planet and unlock the planet.
Yeah.
Whoa. It's like a big bop it.
And then, and she mentions that they will be returned to the Promised Land, a land that promises supreme happiness, which again just makes me think of that Prince song.
Yeah,
A world of never-ending happiness.
And I think it's Tifa that asks, "Can you really speak with it?" Or somebody says that, yeah. And or like, what does it say? And Aerith says, "Well, it's so full of people and super noisy, and that's why she can never make out what it's saying at all."
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And she says that she can only hear it at the church in the slums.
Right.
And that her real mother actually told her that Midgar was no longer safe.
Right. Right.
So, and this little interaction with Aerith kind of, and I was thinking about this last episode, and I don't think I brought it up, but I get like real X-Men vibes from her.
Yeah.
Like just like this, kid who has these powers that at first they're like denying it. They're, like when she's in the flashback from Elmira, she's like, "No, I don't have these powers."
She insists that she can't do it.
Yeah.
Right. And then she says this cute thing that she says, "Someday I'll get out of Midgar, speak with the planet, and find my promised land."
Yeah.
And like I thought that because like the way I interpreted that is that like not the promised land with etc., but just like a place that she can be without fear of being fucking hunted down by Shinra,
Right.
and have all these issues. So that was a really nice little thing that she says. I was like, oh, I like that a lot.
Yeah, we all have our own little promised land.
Yeah, yeah. Karl, your eyes are my promised land.
Thank you. Mine is winning the Super Bowl with Krusty.
What does Groundskeeper Willie say after? Yeah, that's the Nightmare episode, right?
Yeah.
This is now a Simpsons podcast.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
Another one.
Yeah,
Every fucking podcast just has obscure Simpsons references from like, the golden age that if you laugh and you're like, that's great. And then everyone who doesn't, which is a lot of people.
You've mastered a dead tongue, but can you handle a live one? Okay.
Anyway, so back to the thing that we're actually here to talk about.
Right. So you can also talk to Red and Barrett.
I think one other thing that I liked about what Aerith says is that she says that she thought as she got older she would stop hearing her mother's voice, but she never did.
Oh, okay.
Like she's kind of just
write that down. I can't believe I didn't put that down.
She's kind of just musing like, as I got older I thought I would stop hearing her voice, and it's kind of clear that she's got this connection with her mother and with the planet and with these voices that
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So next I talked to Red, because you get an option of which order you want to talk to everybody in. So I talked to Red next, and Cloud doesn't really talk to Red. Or Barrett, I think. It's more of just like overhearing their conversation. Yeah, so
dropping those eaves.
Yeah, so Red, do you think Red is like sleeping here, or is he just like thinking?
I thought he was just kind of like thinking to himself or like muttering to himself. I didn't say it as sleeping, but
okay.
Maybe he has the connection too. Maybe he's talking to Grandpa.
Could be.
We'll get there.
We'll get
shortly
Grandpa
enough.
Red.
Old Grandpa Red.
Old Grandpa.
Oh wait,
Red.
hold on. He's Red the 8th, which means Grandpa is Red the 5th.
No, he's Red the 13th.
Red the 13th.
I'm sorry.
No,
I
it's
can't
okay.
read. I read.
You're thinking of the best Final Fantasy.
You actually can talk to Barrett. I forgot. He talks about Eris and the Ancient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but with Red, I think he's just kind of like musing to himself, and he's like dot 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 dot.
Yeah, dot 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 dot. Grandpa. Yeah.
And Barrett just starts fucking cracking up.
He hears him say the word grandpa out loud, and Barrett just starts laughing, and he's like, yo, what's so funny? And he's like, oh, nothing. And he just keeps laughing.
Yeah, he's just like fucking...
He's just cracking up.
This MF talking about his grandpa.
Yeah. So good. Dude, Barrett's such a good character. He's like, he's like the most lively of all the,
he's
the
so
members.
Good. So then if you check on Barrett, though, like Alex was saying... He's just kind of like thinking about the Promised Land and the Ancients, and
He talks about recruiting new members for Avalanche.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because 2 episodes ago, Jesse and Biggs and Wedge all died in the plate crash. Very sad, but they are super dead. So that's most of Avalanche gone now.
Yep.
So he's talking about recruiting new members. He mentions Cloud and Tifa and all of us, and even Aerith, she's gonna come with us too.
Yeah, it's very good. His mission is still he's locked up, and he's no escape.
Yeah.
He's essentially lost, and the only thing he's thinking about is man, I'm gonna fucking recruit new people. We're gonna fucking destroy
Right.
these guys. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, he has just a rejuvenated passion for it.
He's basically recruiting yo, I have this failing terrorist group. You want to get in on it?
Yeah, and he's so excited to do it.
Hey, remember that group that did that thing, and now everyone hates us? And
Yeah,
thinks that we
yeah.
destroyed Sector 7.
Yeah, and he's
you want to
super
join
into it.
us?
Yep. And then
He asked Red, I think, hey, how are you?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
he does ask him.
And
Yep.
Red's he just lies down.
Yeah, and then
yeah.
he says he calls Red so damn boring.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, I think he also talks a little bit about just Shinra's plan more, and he's like, this is so fucked up, that they're just gonna go to this promised land and just use it for their own monetary gain.
Right.
But I love that he's still holding on to that hope.
Yeah, me too. So after that, you've talked to everybody.
Wait, real quick. I think
Okay,
it'd be
yeah.
great if he recruited someone. It was just okay, your name for Avalanche is Biggs. And your name's gonna be Wedge. He's just can't get over the fact that he lost his friends. Or they're not the first.
That's creepy and sad. I hate that idea. So that's all the people you can talk to. That's all of us locked up.
Yeah. And then I think
You take a nap.
You take a nap. The
Cloud
screen
just says-
fades to black.
Yep.
And
Ooh,
yeah, very nice.
ready to fall asleep right now.
Pleasant. But what we're going to talk about now is not so pleasant. So this is my favorite scene. This is where it begins. Right?
Real good.
So we wake up and the door to the cell that Cloud and Tifa are in is just open.
Yep. Everyone's still sleeping.
Yeah, everybody's still sleeping. Cloud wakes up, sees that the door is open.
They're leaving a
No
draft in.
music.
Yeah, there's no music.
Close the door. You're letting the heat out.
Yeah.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
I have to work in the morning. Hey, it is a Simpsons podcast. God
damn it.
Anyway,
Sorry, everyone.
but the door's open. There's no music. It's very ominous. And
The guard's taking a little nap.
Cloud walks outside, and the guard is just dead.
Yep.
The guard is just laying on the ground dead. And what I love about this scene is multiple times the way Cloud describes this scene is just something is wrong.
Yeah.
There's just sense of this is not what should be happening right now. So we grab the key off of the guard.
I mean, if it was me, I'd be like, oh, someone's looking out for me. That's nice.
Yeah.
Which one of my friends did this? It was so nice of them. Yeah, so I think I don't know if this is a difference in depending on what the score is at that we were talking about, but I had to he saw that and was like, what is happening? And then I had to run back in and talk to Tifa.
I think it's the way, yeah.
Okay, cool. And then she comes out with you and you're discussing it, and that's when you find the key and you're like, okay, we got to save everyone.
Oh, okay,
get everyone
yeah.
out. Something's not right here.
Yeah. So Tifa goes to get Eris. You go to get Barrett and Red. And Barrett's surprised. He's like, whoa, how did you get in here? What's going on? And he just says, come with me. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
And everybody goes to check out the dead guard, and Red says no human could have done this.
Yep.
So whatever happened to that guard is beyond the ability of humans. So he is mutilated and destroyed.
Yeah, I think Aerith also might have an idea of what's going on because she says must have been attacked by ...
Oh yeah, that's right.
When she's talking to Tifa, and then Tifa is just like, "This is kind of eerie."
Yeah,
Tifa's
it's
not
kinda
even
eerie.
afraid.
Yeah.
It's great too because she's
Not full eerie, just kind of
just kind of eerie.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, atmospherically one of the creepiest things that's happened
Yeah.
so far in this game. It's a huge tonal shift.
Yeah, right,
and,
right.
And Tifa, the only weapon that she has is literally gloves, and she just punches the shit out of it. Yeah. She's like, "Oh, this is kind of eerie."
Yeah.
Those people who captured us, now they're dead.
Yeah.
And it's a little weird.
Well, when you work at a bar, things kind of get crazy.
That's true, especially in
So-
that part of town.
The camera zooms out, and we now have the same perspective that we had when we were actually climbing this floor originally. And this is the same floor that Genova was kept in, the headless torso. And as it zooms out, we see that all of the businessmen on this floor are dead.
Yeah.
Right? There's a bunch of them just laying all over the place, and just everybody's dead now.
Yeah.
And we walk up to the actual room that Genova was contained in before, and there's just a big hole blown out of the door, right?
Yep.
And there's nothing inside.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah,
Busting out.
and it's It's awesome too because like as soon as all of this is going down, like when you're back at the guard, Red is like when he says that it's like something inhuman must have done this. He's like, I'm gonna go ahead.
Yeah,
like, he's
yeah.
just
he
like
runs ahead.
completely fearless. He's just like, nope, I'm gonna like shit's going down. I gotta go and check it out. And
Yeah, right. And so we find this big hole in Genova's containment.
and Cloud says,
machine.
"Did it get away?"
Did it get away? Yeah,
Genova.
and there is just blood trailing out of it. Right?
And the song playing right now, I think, is called "Trail of Blood."
Ooh.
Oh, there you go.
I think I'm gonna know that.
Yeah.
From this point on, I think there are 3 new enemies you can encounter on this floor.
The
Yeah.
Vagrant Police.
You got the Vagrant Police, which look kind of like weird jellyfish things.
I can't pronounce the second one. The dog thing.
ZENENE is how,
Yeah.
is how I'm pronouncing it.
Watch
and,
me Zawip and watch me ZENENE.
And the Brain Pod.
The Brain Pod is
Oh,
probably
Brain
my
Pod.
favorite.
I do like the Brain Pod.
Did you guys see its face?
I didn't take a hard look at its face. You got it on your Switch?
It's the creepiest
Okay.
thing.
It's like a tubby clown man.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought it
like
was-
yeah. So like the what the hell's that thing called? The Brain Pod.
I'm gonna go ahead and
It's
say
like a Krang, but it's like
Yeah, it's like a teapot looking Krang from Ninja Turtles.
post that on the Twitter before
Yeah,
today sometime.
Absolutely.
Whatever, yeah.
And but it does this thing where it has this arm, like this like teapot arm, and it lifts off like the lid of it, and this stupid little face comes
like
out.
a cartoon face. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
amazing.
It uses a
That's
move
great.
that poisons you called refuse.
Yeah. Also, it has an item that you can steal that's very hard to steal. I probably tried 20 turns or more, and it ends up being like an antidote. And I was like,
Yeah.
really? Really?
antidote, you said?
Yeah.
Yep.
I believe so. Yeah.
Which is helpful because like everything is
Poisoning
poisoned
you
here.
The
right
floor is poison.
It's like
here,
Blight
pretty
Town.
much.
Yeah, Blight Town. Ever since I learned about the backdoor to Blight Town, anyway, I'm sorry, different game. Final Fantasy. So, like I said, we see blood trailing out of the container, and Red says, "Oh, the Genova specimen looks like it went to the upper floor using the elevator for the specimens."
Yep.
And this is the elevator that earlier Hojo used to bring his monster up to the top floor.
Right.
So I guess you got some screenshots of the ZENENE and the Brain Pod. I'm scrolling through. So we go ahead and we go upstairs. We go past Hojo's little lab area and up to the what would it be, 70th floor, I suppose.
I believe it's the 60s.
Oh wait,
no,
the
we were on
69th.
the,
Yeah,
we were on
we-
the 67. 68.
We see the 69th for the first
Yeah,
time.
we finally
nicest
made
floor.
it.
It's kind of
We finally made it.
all right.
Yeah, what were you saying though? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, this is like another kind of, I don't want to call it like a reception area for just, I think, executives, more or less. It's
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
a plaza of sorts. Kind of
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
the lab and the president.
Right.
He
There
probably
are
wants to keep a full 12 feet away from,
Yeah.
from the lab.
There are lockers here. There are
Yeah.
there's like reception desks and stuff.
Yeah, vending machines.
Vending machines. Yeah.
I don't think there's too much here though.
Nothing
I,
interactable.
Yeah, like it's just
Yeah.
kind of atmosphere
But we still see that trail of blood going up the stairs,
and
right? Like,
giant claw marks.
and giant claw marks taken out of the
which
walls.
I think
yeah.
is on the 68th and the 69th floor.
Yeah.
Like, there's just hella claw marks.
Yeah, just giant claw marks where it's taken just fucking chunks out of the concrete. Yeah. Super scary.
So yeah, you follow the trail of blood, and it leads up to the 70th floor.
Right.
Where we just were with the president, his office, his
Yeah.
big-ass office.
And he's there, and he's doing great.
Yeah, so the president's definitely there.
He's armed now.
Yeah, that's right. I think the first thing that's said when we get close to him, Barrett says, "He's dead. The head of Shinra is dead."
He's dead, Jim.
He's dead, Jim. He is laying on his desk, and he just has a big sword stuck in his back.
Yep.
Right, so he's been stabbed from the back, just run through, and he is dead as shit.
Yeah, and Tifa says, then this sword must be ...
Right,
And Cloud says,
Sephiroth's. Yeah, so...
Yep. So, and Tifa, she's like, wait, Sephiroth is alive?
Right, yeah.
Which is interesting to note.
And then, in response to that, a good line that had me thinking a little bit. He said, Cloud says, "It looks like it. Only Sephiroth can use that sword. What is the deal with that sword?
Yeah, seriously.
Then why do you leave it behind?
Is it?" At first I was like, "Oh, it must be like a smart sword, like a smartphone. It like recognizes your fingerprints." But then how would it deactivate if that were the question?
Yeah.
Like if somebody else picked it up, how can only Sephiroth use that sword?
It's a
very
weird bit of dialogue.
It's a long sword.
I kind
He
of
only knows how to go through doors and stairs with it. It's probably really awkward getting up.
Yeah, nobody else knows how to get it into their apartment.
no one else wants to bother with it because like it's just way too fucking long. Like the blade is ridiculous.
Yeah. But I was also thinking this is the very first time I believe that we have reason to believe that Sephiroth has been around us. Right? Because like up until this point we've heard him mentioned a couple times, just in passing, nothing like too important to the story other than like Cloud wanted to be like Sephiroth when joining Soldier.
Yeah, like before Cloud even started his journey, like Sephiroth was famous.
Right.
And Cloud wanted to be famous like him.
Yeah, we've heard the first mention, or the first time we see President Shinra, he says Sephiroth was too great. You know?
He was like, I can't remember anione's name unless they're Sephiroth.
Yeah, exactly.
But Sephiroth was too great.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the first time
we've too pimp.
This is the first time we've actually had any kind of idea that Sephiroth is around, right? That he's still alive and he is operating on his own machinations. Right?
Yeah, and Tifa and Cloud are pretty freaked out about this, and Barrett's just like, who cares who did it? Fucking the head of Shinra is dead.
Yeah, he's super stoked about
Free sword.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
And then
swords
out from behind one of the pillars,
so good. I
fucking
love this.
pops Palmer, the space head, what would you call the manager of the executive of space development,
the president of space.
He's the president of space. And he tries to run away, and Cloud and Barrett grab him by both arms.
He pops out his head to it and just goes,
Yeah, I know.
Because Barrett's like, yeah, Shinra's done. And he's like,
yeah,
actually.
Yeah, so he tries to run away. He begs you not to kill him. He's like, please don't kill me, And we just ask what happened here.
Yeah, and Palmer just like lays it all out. He's like, Sephiroth. Like, Sephiroth came here.
Yeah, he came here, he killed the president.
And Cloud still doesn't believe it. He's like, did you see him? Did you actually see Sephiroth?
Right. And he says he said something about not letting us have the promised land.
Yeah, and he says that he saw him with his own 2 eyes.
Right.
And like Cloud still even then can't believe it, and Palmer's like, why would I lie at a time like this?
Yeah. And
he heard his voice too, so like
he does
pretty much like confirming that Sephiroth was here.
Right. And to this, I think that Barrett has an interesting kind of thing. He's like, wait a minute. So Sephiroth showed up. He killed the president of Shinra, and he's not going to let them have the promised land. He's on our side.
Yeah.
As far as that's concerned, like, he's here to save the world. Like,
yeah, Tifa's like, let me get this shit straight. The promised land does exist, and Sephiroth's here to save it from the Shinra.
Right.
And Barrett's thinking the same thing. He's like, oh, cool. So this guy's a good guy then. Like, hell yeah. Like, I'm going to recruit him to Avalanche.
Yeah, right.
His new name will be New Biggs.
Yeah.
So are we to believe that Sephiroth left the door open for you?
That's what I think.
That's what I gathered from it.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, man, it's interesting.
We can't talk about it right now.
I know, because the thing is, like, how well does Sephiroth really know Cloud at all?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, there's a lot here.
There's a lot there in that question. Yeah. But that's kind of what I thought, is that Sephiroth left the door open.
I think I know what's going on just from like refreshing my memory about the game and stuff. Again, not going to talk about it here. We'll talk about it in several episodes. But
right.
There's some shit going on. But anyway.
Yeah.
So Cloud is like, wait, save the promised land? A good guy? Like, no way.
He immediately shoots that down. He goes, it's not that simple. I know him. Sephiroth's mission is different.
Yep.
So he is not convinced. Cloud knows something about Sephiroth and his actions and the way that he is, that he's like, there's no way that this guy is doing anything good for anyone.
Yeah, like this, like, even though he's an enemy of our enemy, this doesn't bode well for anyone. Right,
yeah. And like you said, like Cloud and Tifa are freaked out about this news. Like they are very uncomfortable knowing that Sephiroth is back. This is big.
And then in comes a little helicopter floating
In comes
by.
the helicopter, yep. And
the one that President Shinra escaped on before.
Yep, yeah, and Barrett says, oh, Rufus, shit, I forgot about him.
Yeah, and while that's happening, Palmer wiggles his way, and he weasels his way out of the grip of Cloud, and he runs.
So I let it, because like the Switch has the 3x speed up function. I was like, I'm just going to speed up and see if Palmer gets all the way there, and he'll run all the way back there to the helicopter, and then just stop in front of it. He'll just go, boop, stand there in front of the helicopter and wait.
He stands there, and he's like, Rufus, Mom said it's my turn to play the Xbox. So yeah, Barrett's like, fuck, I forgot about that dude. Yeah. And then and Tifa's like, wait, who's that? And he says, Vice President Rufus, the president's son.
Right, yeah. And then we get control of Cloud again, and our characters are kind of standing around, and we get to talk to each of our characters about the topic of Rufus.
Yeah.
And the best is Aerith's line.
I agree.
And this is another one I haven't brought it up, I think, in like an episode or two, but there's that really good series on YouTube called Let's Mosey about the translation.
Yeah.
So the English one is great, right? Aerith just says, I've heard that no one's ever seen him bleed or cry.
Yep.
Which is great. The Japanese
Same
one...
thing here.
Yeah, the Japanese is even better, though, where she says, I heard that he doesn't have blood or tears.
Hell yeah.
Which is so much more, like, hilarious, you know?
Wait, is this talking about Rufus or is this talking about Sephiroth?
At first I was like, oh, she's got to be talking about Sephiroth because they were just talking about Sephiroth. But I think it's Rufus.
Okay.
Well, they were... Yeah, because the very last thing they were talking about is Rufus.
Yeah, exactly.
And... Yeah, and someone actually, I think, mentions him by name and says, like, Rufus. You know,
but when I read that, I also was like, oh, shit, no one's seen Sephiroth bleed or cry. That's, like, crazy.
Yeah.
But, no, I think it is supposed to be Rufus.
Yeah.
Just kind of painting that, like, oh, yeah, like, not only do you have to worry about Sephiroth, like...
But now somebody else who's
just because this guy who has been, like, one of the main antagonists so far is dead doesn't mean, like, things are good.
Right. And actually, we're getting ready to learn that it's going to be a whole lot worse with this new guy.
Yeah, there's, I think, other dialogue, too, about Rufus, like Barrett saying that he had heard that he had been assigned somewhere else for a long time. I don't remember if that has any kind of relevance at all. I think it's just, you know...
Good. Yeah, I mean, he's probably come back now. I mean, he couldn't have come back just because he heard his father was killed, because that just happened.
Yeah.
But he knows about it, though. Well, I guess Palmer tells him.
Yeah.
Because when we finally walk out onto the balcony to confront him, he is in the middle of a conversation with Palmer. And he just says, so, Sephiroth was actually here. And by the way, and he turns his attention to you and goes, who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this part's great because everyone
it's
has
so anime. It's so anime.
Yeah, it's like Cloud's like, I'm Cloud, ex-soldier, first class.
Yeah, and then it goes over to Barrett. I'm from Avalanche. We'll go back and forth.
Yeah, and then Tifa's like, ooh, me too.
And then Aerith says, oh, flower girl from the slums.
I think that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
And then Red says, a research specimen.
Yo, that's the most Power Rangers shit.
And then Rufus hears all of that and he shrugs and he goes, what a crew. Like, he doesn't give a fuck.
Right. And he announces that he is now president because President Shinra is dead.
Yep.
And Barrett tries to take the piss out of him by being like, oh, you're only president because your old man died, which is very like schoolyard insult.
Yeah.
You're only president because your old man's dead.
Because you're an orphan.
Because you're an orphan.
Yeah, and he's just like, correct. I'll let you hear my inauguration speech.
And if President Shinra was a villain, Rufus is like a cartoon supervillain.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
He's like the dramatic slow walk and talk.
Yeah, I know.
Walking up to each individual person as he's like giving his speech.
And like Shinra's like, we're going to do all these things to make the people love us. And like, it sounds pretty cartoonish and hilarious where he's like, you know, we'll save them from Avalanche, but we'll actually drop the Sector 7 plate and we'll play the people off of each other. Like, Rufus is just like, I don't have time.
That's too much work.
That's too much work. I am just going to make them super afraid.
Yep.
I'm just going to fucking shit on them every day, and they will be too terrified to actually do anything about it.
Yeah.
Like, he's such a fucking asshole.
Yeah, and going back to the money and power thing that President Shinra just said, like, Rufus is like, yep, father tried to control the world with money, and that worked for him. He's like, me, I'm going to rule with fear.
Yeah. He says a little fear will control the minds of the common people. There's no reason to waste good money on them.
Yep.
Ooh. What a bastard. What an asshole.
Yeah, so he has this nice little monologue, and then and Tifa hears it, and she's just like, well, he likes to make speeches like his old man. Again, she doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
She's ready to punch the shit out of something.
And like, in true Cloud fashion right now, like, he's been very upset for a little while, and he is again like, yo, this is not the time for jokes. You guys need to leave now. Like, get out of here.
Yep.
And this is where Barrett keeps asking him questions, right? Like, what's going on here? Yeah, so Barrett...
and Cloud is just instantly like, all of this is going on, like, you know, all these things are changing, and Cloud is just like straight to the mission. He's like, get Aerith out of this building. Yeah,
right now. And he goes like, well, what's the deal with Aerith? And he's like, later, get out now.
Yep.
Yeah, so he, I think like 3 times
yeah,
tells him, he's like,
take my word for it, just we have to leave and I'll explain later.
Yeah. And so everybody leaves except for Cloud. Cloud's left on the
on the 70th.
Yeah, was it a balcony, would you say?
It's like a helipad, like the roof.
Yeah.
I wrote it.
It's outdoors. Yeah, but he's on the 70th floor. So everybody else runs downstairs. when we get to the lounge, Tifa says, "I'll wait for Cloud. You all go ahead."
Yeah.
And so you get an option to unequip everybody's materia, re-equip, because now we're in charge of Eris, Barrett, and Red.
Yep.
Right. And they're all going to be going to the elevator.
Yep. And there's a save point there that you can't access because Tifa's in the doorway.
Yeah.
And she says, "I'll wait here for Cloud."
Yep.
You're like, damn it.
Damn it, Tifa. Yeah, and then something cool happens in the elevator.
Yep. You go right up to the elevator and you hit the button and it starts a boss encounter.
Yeah.
Which, like, this is a dope boss. I love this boss because it has a lot of HP, and when you're finally done with it, you're not done with it. Like,
Yeah.
it's so long for like a...
So explain what this actually looks like. 'Cause
Yeah. So we are on...
It's like a mongoose from Halo, if you're
I mean,
familiar
the
with
boss
that.
fights.
Yeah, the boss fight itself. So you're on the elevator. So to describe the Shinra elevators a little bit better, they are external elevators.
It's like a tube, like at a bank.
It's like a tube. Yeah, kind of like a tube at a bank or
This
whatever.
is now a Futurama podcast. Buckle up.
It is like the Gaylord. Meet us at MagFest. Come talk to us. Anyway,
Hell yeah.
yeah, so the elevator's on the outside of the building, and there's a clear tube that the elevators are going up and down, so the people using them can actually see out over Midgar. So this boss arena is 2 elevators beside each other going down to the first floor at the same time.
Yep.
So the enemy is on the platform or the elevator across from you, and there's a good several feet in between your elevator platform and theirs.
Yep.
And that comes into play during this fight because anybody who's doing close-up physical damage cannot physically attack this boss. Eris and Red in this case,
Yeah.
like they both, go up to an enemy to hit them.
Yeah.
And so they cannot physically attack this boss.
If they're not using magic, they can't touch it.
Right. They can hit them with limit breaks.
Yeah, limit breaks work, and also like if you have grenades, which
Yeah.
was an item I always like slept on as a kid. I was like, I got magic,
And
Like, why
they're
the hell?
great.
Yeah, they're so good.
They're so good. They do so much damage. Yeah.
This is called the 100 Gunner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was also
the
gonna
first
say-
part is called the 100 Gunner.
I was also gonna say I just love the inconsistency of the sizing of the elevators. Like when you went on it with Cloud, it was like Cloud.
It's like a logical elevator size.
Yeah,
it
it's
might
like-
fit like 6
phone
or 7
booth
people.
almost.
It's it
Yeah.
looked crowded with Cloud, Rude, and Sang in it all
Right,
at once.
right.
And now it's like this like huge platform,
Right, in the battle screen.
and a
it's
giant
really large.
fucking tank thing is on one of them.
Right.
with room to
So the
spare.
100 Gunner is a large tank with a minigun.
Yeah, 2 miniguns.
Yeah, 2 miniguns.
It's got like a turret on top with like 3 other barrels sticking out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And its wheels are like domes.
Yeah.
I think that's so it can like do a quick spin around kind
Right.
of thing.
That
it's
would
like
make sense.
a Dyson ball
It
vacuum.
reminds me of
Those hard to reach corners.
the Metal Gear from Snake Eater kind of did this a little bit. Where it's-
Shagohod.
Yeah, it's got the little wheelies, kind of
Yeah.
really grippy looking drill things.
Yeah. So this boss is pretty cool.
Yeah, it starts out the battle by just like unloading its miniguns and shattering the glass of the elevator.
Yeah,
that
oh, it's
it
so
just
cool.
creates a nice anime fucking battle scene.
Does that mean?
Yeah.
I think when I was watching the first hit doesn't hit you because it hits the glass first.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's just like getting ready to attack
Gotcha.
you.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Right,
Nice
yeah.
little detail.
Yeah, so it's a very cool fight. It and I guess that like I said, the battle takes a little while, and I feel like that's cool because this is the only time we're gonna see this battle arena.
Yeah.
So it is nice to get your time in with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like you said, kind of a difficult fight compared to other boss fights that we had because of the.
it has a lot of HP.
Yeah.
It goes on for a bit. That, yeah.
Yeah, it's got like 1600.
yeah.
I made
yeah.
note of.
And I think when I was casting Bolt with Barrett, I was doing just over 100
Yeah.
damage, and that was the most damage I was pumping out
Yeah.
at once. I equipped Bolt and Elemental on Barrett so that I could just do normal attacks, and that gave me like a good upper 90s amount of damage, but it still was a little bit lower than actually just casting Bolt, I found out. So it's
Yeah,
like, wow.
and Bolt is what its weakness is, so
Right, yeah. I think
Definitely
all
wanna hit it with it.
machines.
pretty much, yeah.
So it's got a couple moves that it can hit multiple characters with. I think it can make people fall asleep.
I think so.
Yeah.
I know one of the
The next version of it definitely does.
yeah, quick spoiler for the next like 15 20 minutes. There's a lot of fucking boss fights coming up.
Yeah,
but
right.
like one of these, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because I think I had like Red's limit, and I was like, cool, I'll build up to his next limit.
Yeah.
And I was about to use it, and then he fell asleep. I'm like, come
yeah.
on, sleepyhead.
So he's got some
got a
status
job to
effects.
do.
He's got some status effects. He does pretty good damage. But it's mostly just outlasting him.
Yeah.
You know, you just keep your health up and it'll be fine.
Yeah. So you beat him.
What's great is that
also, like, I think as the battle goes through, I think different parts of him like fall off and like
he changes
break and
modes and stuff.
Changes modes. And I think parts of him like deteriorate or break off or get destroyed and stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great. And that's the thing is that like this boss battle is the longest one yet. Like it's taken the longest amount of time. And that's why I love this fight so much is that like you finally beat him, you get to the end of it, you've done the last hit, it's been the longest boss, and you're only halfway through at that point.
Yep.
Because after it blows up and it's completely destroyed, a second boss comes in. So you just beat the 100 gunner, and then the heli gunner comes in, which is like a helicopter with 3 like rifle barrels on it, like gun barrels that are all move on their own, right? They can move independently.
Yep.
You start a second boss battle right after that.
Yep.
And it has the cannons on it are A, B, and C, and it does different combinations of those cannons for its different moves.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So I think like AB cannon is the thing, like the one that puts you asleep.
Yeah,
And there's C cannon. Yeah.
Wow. It kind of reminds me of the play Breath of the Wild. They have there's these flying guardians that look like drones, and it's very similar to the design.
Yeah.
That is kind of what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
But I would say that like he probably has less HP than the one.
He's got
before.
1,000.
Yeah.
So
'cause he
it's
goes a little
slightly less,
faster.
but it's still a pretty good chunk, and you're still not able to physically attack it, and
right.
can only use magic or whatever items you might have.
Right. And I've noticed that MP in this game is like plentiful.
Oh yeah.
So like you can just cast away pretty much.
Yeah, at least at this point where you're only using low level magics.
Right, yeah, maybe like later when we're getting like Bolt 3 and summoning Knight of the Round,
Yeah,
it might run
exactly.
out, yeah.
Another cool thing is at one point it can do this like weird like spinning animation thing,
Yeah.
and then it uses a different move called like flying drill.
You're right, yeah. So it like
Oh, it's also weak against wind.
really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
which is weird.
Do we have wind
No.
magic? Okay, I was going to say I don't think we even have ability.
I don't think there's any way to get wind magic at this point, so
Yeah.
it's a weird thing.
Turbulence.
I mean, it makes
Yeah.
sense that it would be. Yeah.
Yeah. But so that's why I really like those two bosses because there's a lot to them. They have a lot of different move sets, they have a lot of different animations.
And
it's nice. You get to like see like the developers on,
Yeah.
at the top of their game kind of doing this like cool boss battle.
Yeah, I also like it because a lot of times, especially in like RPGs, it'll be like, oh, we need to split up into teams, and then it's like, and I think it also happens a lot in this game too, like
Yeah.
later on, but like you split up into teams, and then you're only like the main character or whatever. You're only like
Yeah.
the story driven one where it's like you have your thing to do, and it's like a boss.
Right.
But with this, it's like, oh, we need to escape. Oh, boss fight with these people, and then it's like there's still another boss fight
Yeah,
directly after this.
Immediately after we're done, we go right back up to we don't even see them go to the first floor. They immediately just goes
I think
back
it just cuts
to the
right back to Rufus on the roof with
yeah,
Cloud.
yeah. And so Cloud says, "You want the promised land in Sephiroth," and he's gonna stop him.
A nice thing too is it gives you the prompt that says like, "Oh, re-equip materia," and all
Yes.
of that, which is nice because then you can like remove materia from everything and then set Cloud up for this fight that he's about to have.
Right. And we get another little piece of information about Sephiroth here too. Rufus tells him, "Did you know that Sephiroth is also an ancient?"
Yep,
And I don't think Cloud really acknowledges it, does it? He kind of like is just like
he does, but
Does
he's
he?
still in mission mode. He just says
Okay.
like, "Whatever, I can't let either you or Sephiroth have the promised land."
okay, yeah.
So like he hears that and he's like, "Okay, well that's not important right now because right now I gotta make sure like I can only control what I
Right.
have the ability to control right now."
right. And then we enter the battle. Is there anything else that's said? I guess that's
I like that Rufus is like, why you want to fight me? Come on. And then he's like, and then when Cloud says that, he's like, dang, guess we won't be allies.
Oh yeah, he does say that. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, he says allies in your version.
Yeah, what does he say in yours?
I guess this means we won't be friends.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
Why do they change it to allies? Goddamn cowards.
Hey, real quick before we get into this fight, wanted to mention real quick that during the creepy scene when we're following the blood trail, all the battles do not play the battle music.
Yeah,
They're
just-
also in that weird. It's not silence, but it's like an ambient.
It's a weird, the track is called Trail of Blood, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
So
it
it's
plays
just
the-
very like ominous and like
And there's no
dwelling
victory
note.
music or anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. Wanted to point that out real quick. I saw it in
there
my
was,
notes.
yeah, and there was no victory music after the battle with the 100 gunner or
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing, and it just goes right back to here. And I think it might still be playing the boss theme.
When we start with so it plays
it's playing
the normal
regular,
fight theme
the regular fight
for the
theme.
last battle, and then when we start the fight with Rufus, we get the actual fighting more fighting.
Poor Alex is hearing us go back and forth on which theme is playing. It's gonna
Yeah,
be like,
yeah.
gonna edit if he tries to
We
play
get the rock and roll one right
Oh
here.
yeah,
right?
now it's the good.
I'll drop it
that
in.
good.
Oh yeah.
That's for our listeners
eat
with
it up.
misophonia. Sorry. Yeah, so we begin the fight with Rufus, and he has a friend with him, which I guess is his pet dog.
That's what I got. There was that comic, the fuck was it called? Saga, where I think the bad guy in it has like a lynx.
I don't know.
I don't know. I read like the first issue of it. It was pretty good.
He's got like a black wolf jaguar.
Yeah,
hybrid?
Jaguar. I think Jaguar. He's got a Sega Jaguar with him.
Right, and its tail is coming out of its head instead of its butt, like a normal one.
Yeah.
And it's called Dark Nation, which is fucking epic. Like,
Which was the original title for Dark Souls.
yeah, right, yeah.
Not really.
Dark Souls is a spin-off of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it's true.
Looking at it, I feel like the character's name should be swapped, and they just kind of accidentally got him switched. Like Rufus
the dog, Rufus should be the pet.
Oh, that would be so
Dark
good.
Nation would be that's awesome. Well, so it immediately casts barrier on Rufus,
Yeah,
right?
which sucks.
And what was hilarious is that I attacked Dark Nation first, and I was like, it's an animal, I'll use fire magic. And it doesn't have any extra resistance to fire or anything, but I did like 30 damage to it, and I immediately just opened the wiki, and I was like, that doesn't sound right. Because like, the last time I played this, I was like, yeah, this isn't even a boss battle, it's just a joke. And like, after 2 turns, I'd taken like 300 damage, and I was like, is this right? I'm getting my ass kicked here. This isn't right.
This is a tough fight.
Yeah, like they do a lot more. Like Rufus attacks constantly. Like,
Yeah, he's just constantly shotgunning you.
He has a shotgun.
Yeah, he's
that's
just
his attack.
lighting you up with a shotgun.
So
I love sci-fi where they still use shotguns. And
Yeah, it's so good.
yeah,
A classic.
so Dark Nation does not have a lot of HP. Is the thing.
Yeah.
It goes down pretty quick. So,
And that's the move, is you want to take that out first.
right. And so what I ended up doing, because like I tried physically attacking once, tried magic once, and I wasn't doing a lot of damage to it. And I was getting hit so much, I just went into Limit Break and I just used Cross Slash and just took him out.
Which is
and
nice,
it did
'cause
like
then
400 damage when I did that. I was like, yeesh.
And then I think that also hit Cross Slash,
Cross Slash,
not
yeah.
Blade Beam.
Right, I didn't have Blade Beam yet.
Ah,
yeah,
bummer.
sorry. But which actually, so I went into Limit Break several times during this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Cross Slash has the ability to paralyze.
Yeah.
And Rufus can be paralyzed. He can also be poisoned. if
Oh
you
yeah,
have
I
poison.
poisoned him
Did
because
you?
I set poison elemental to my weapon, and I think I also used
perfect.
Deadly Waste that I stole off of one of the mutants downstairs.
Is that what that does?
Yeah, I cast Bio 2, I think.
What?
So I poisoned Rufus, and I was like, sweet.
That would have been the move to make.
He may not bleed or cry, but he can fucking get poisoned.
Yeah. So good. Yeah, once you take out Dark Nation, though, Rufus is pretty one note. He just hits you with that shotgun.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't even have special attacks, does he? He just pummels you with that thing the whole fight.
Yeah, it also can zoom in on his face.
Yeah,
at
I
certain
read
angles.
if he has less than 200 HP left and your last attack did less than 100 damage, it'll do the thing where it zooms in on his face and he
wow.
says, heh, heh, heh.
Yeah, that's
And he
great.
laughs,
Like,
yeah.
also, like, I think the first attack that I did when it hit his barrier and did like 30 damage,
Yeah.
he laughed at me. I was like, shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
that's
that's a
awesome.
good thing. But looking at his face, I can't unsee this. He just looks like Eric Trump.
Oh no!
Which
I would say that you've ruined Rufus, but he's a dick.
He
It's
already
like that,
sucks.
like,
yeah, and like, and that's the only comparison he can have to.
On the port, it's like his face is too small for his head.
Yeah, it's weird. Much like Eric Trump.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, that's wonderful
Yep.
or awful, depending on
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII. So like real life.
Can't wait until Eric Trump is our president and he leads with fear instead of whatever the fuck Trump does.
Business.
I'm crying into my microphone right now. Can you put the compressor on so that we can just hear my tears?
So anyway, you keep hitting.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. What?
No. So I was gonna say, yeah, you keep hitting Rufus, and it's obvious that you're gonna win the fight, and then he just goes, "Heh, that's all for today." And he jumps
Yeah.
up and grabs the leg of the helicopter and just fucking takes off.
Absolutely took a screenshot of that, and it's amazing.
His home planet needs him.
More
well-
Simpsons references.
So
So yeah, I think
Yeah, and then the boss music is continuing.
Yeah, it's still going.
He also drops a protect vest, and
guard
if you
source.
defeated Dark Nation, you get a guard source.
Oh, is
which
that how it works?
Very good. Yeah,
I did not know you could win this fight without beating Dark Nation.
yeah, you can just beat Rufus if you want.
Interesting.
I think now would be a good time to take a little rest.
Let's do it.
I agree.
I got a shit in my butt I could get out.
All right. Good night. Do you feel well rested now?
Do you feel well pooped?
Alex got locked in my bathroom while we were away. And then I had to go let him out. And then I went to the bathroom. And then I got stuck in the bathroom. And then we watched steamed hams videos. And now we're back.
I did not get stuck in the bathroom because I am a god gamer.
It's true.
I also didn't need to use the bathroom.
He's sped run a bowel movement.
Curtis let me out while I was looking at the Prima guide.
When people talk about me, they're like, I've heard he's never pooped or bled or cried.
I hear he doesn't. Well, in the Japanese, they say, I hear he has neither poop nor pee.
Poop nor bowel.
Yeah, so we beat Rufus. The important thing I think to remember here is that the battle music does not end. That fucking rock and roll ass song keeps going.
Still playing.
Yeah, and as Cloud, you can run around on the balcony, and there is nothing to
There's
get.
literally nothing.
But you can run around the balcony or outside if you want, and I did, looking for something. But
smashing that X button.
yeah, but there's nothing up there.
It's just like Pokemon looking for all those ethers and
Looking for a nugget.
Oh, we'll get to ethers in this
Oh.
episode. We'll get to ethers
Plenty
in
of
this episode.
ethers coming up. For fans of ethers, just buckle in.
Yeah, get ready. So Cloud heads down to the 69th floor where Tifa's waiting for him. She asks, "Where's Rufus?" And Cloud says, "I couldn't finish him." And then, like a great line, "This is gonna get complicated."
Yeah.
Like, ooh, things are about to get real bad because, like we were saying earlier, like Sephiroth's alive. He's meddling in everybody's affairs.
One enemy was just killed. Now there's a whole new one
An
who
entirely different
is
one.
way worse.
Right. So things are indeed going to get complicated from
Yep.
here on out.
That's something that I always love too, is like usually in video games I'm used to like the one, or at the time of playing this for the first time when I was like 16 or whatever, like used to the one big bad boss.
Right.
And like the bosses of each like level or whatever, but there was always the one antagonist. And in this I'm like, oh shit, there's just so many. There's
Yeah,
the Turks, there's Rufus, there's
Yeah, and they're all entangled with each other
Yeah.
the whole time. Like, yeah, you get the feeling it's like it's us versus all of those other teams, but all of those other teams are also against all of the other ones
yeah,
too.
it's
So-
like Sephiroth isn't with Shinra. He's just like
Right.
his own entity.
Right, and then there's like different entities within Shinra who are like vying for control against each other, right?
Yeah, it's so
like the
good.
different executives all want to kick out the other ones and take over their spots.
Yep.
Yeah, so we go down to we flash down to the first floor.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cloud and Tifa aren't there yet, but we see Barrett, Red, and Aerith trying to escape the building. Barrett runs out, and they
His
are
solution for
surrounded.
everything.
Yeah.
His solution for everything. He just starts unloading, and then
Yeah.
he backs into the building again, still shooting.
Yeah.
And then he says that they're surrounded.
Yep. And he, Aerith says, "You all leave. I'm the one who got y'all into this. Like, this isn't fair. Save yourselves. Get out of here." And Barrett says, "No, you saved Marlene. I owe this to you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna leave you here." And then he says, "Okay, playtime's over, jackasses."
So good.
With no plan, by the way. Like,
Oh no, he's got the same plan always, and thus far it has only worked for him. Since the moment he walked into Seventh Heaven, that was his plan,
Yeah.
and it's worked flawlessly each time.
Oh, then Eris says, "Thank you, Mr. Barrett."
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
yeah.
Very sweet. And then he's like, "Wait, Mister, that doesn't sound right.
Yep.
Like, don't call me that."
And so Red interrupts them and is like, "I don't. Do you have the actual?"
I do.
saying?
Yeah. He says, "Well then, if you were through talking, may I suggest that we think of a way to get out of here?"
Yeah, and then Bear's response is, "Huh? Oh, yeah, you're cold, man, just like somebody else I know around here."
Always throwing some shade at Cloud.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
So good.
So good. And I do like that, like, Red and Cloud both are like the mind on what's going on right now.
Yeah.
They're very eyes on the prize. Kind
Yeah,
of.
everyone else is just having a good time hanging out with their friends, taking
Right.
down
Right.
evil corporations.
And I do love that, like, I love that Red is with us because, like, he doesn't necessarily care about our plight. But
Yeah.
he is like, yeah, I've been trapped in this building and everything. This would be a good opportunity for
he's
me
like
to get
a-
out. So
yeah,
he's
exact-
he's on board. It's good.
He's polite, at least.
Yeah. And so Tifa comes downstairs and is like, okay, guys, follow me. And they ask, oh, where's Cloud at? And like, oh, he's coming. Don't worry about it. Just follow me, right?
Yep.
And then we get a cutscene, which, is this the only cutscene we see multiple of our characters in?
I think so far, yeah.
I don't think that, I think
so this is
Eris, Red, and Barrett, we don't ever see them 3D modeled again in a full CGI, do we?
I'm not sure.
Is this also the first one? Yeah, we see them in, because there's been cutscenes before, but it's still their like overworld models where they're still trying
Yeah,
to
so this
Popeye.
is like an FMV, like a full motion video, I think is what that stands for.
It hasn't particularly aged well. It looks almost like a claymation thing.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
really good
Yeah.
for like an early
This
era
is-
PS1 game.
This is less than 2 years after Toy Story, remember? So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
pretty.
Yeah,
It's still pretty
yeah.
good. I mean, but it does.
Yeah.
At this time, everything still has this very plasticky look, like a lot of
Yeah, for
90s
sure.
CG had.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
Everything looks kind of like a miniature,
Yeah. But we get a scene of them walking.
and the cool music starts playing.
Oh, man.
yeah.
This track.
It's called The Chase on Spotify. I'll link in those show
Oh,
notes.
really? I always had it as Crazy Motorcycle.
That is the old name for it.
Yeah.
I think
Damn.
on Spotify it's called The Chase, but Crazy Motorcycle Chase if you're on YouTube.
Hell yeah.
Interesting. Huh.
I think I
You
always
can't
thought it
just change the name of the song.
We're
It's
gonna
just
we're
like
gonna have
changing friend to ally,
Nobuo
just-
on an episode and he'll tell us what he
Yeah, what did you call it? And he's just like, oh, it's track 38.
So-
in the folder I put.
In this cutscene, we see the gang with Tifa leading Eris, Red, and Barrett. And you
Yeah.
can kind of get a better look at what Red's actually supposed to look like. He's got a glowing
Yeah.
tail.
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
little
He's got like a
Charmander.
fucking Charmander tail, yeah.
Oh yeah. And then we see Cloud busting down the stairs in a
Yeah.
motorcycle.
What was it? At first, we just see a wheel.
a cool wheel. Yeah.
A wheel like rolling down the stairs of the Shinra building, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Tifa and the rest of the gang get in a 3-wheeled pickup truck,
I'm glad you noticed that it was 3-wheeled because I also took note of that.
and the one wheel is in the back. Like,
Yeah.
the 2 wheels are up front, and the 1 wheel's in the back.
Is that how those weird trike things work? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what
They're
you're
like
talking
the-
about. They drive around Philly sometimes.
Yeah. Do they have 2 in the front and 1 in the back, or is it the reverse? I can't remember.
I think it's.
But I saw that and I was like, weird. So it's one of those things. But they like explicitly call it a truck.
Yeah, no, it is a pickup truck because like they're sitting in the bed of the truck. Like Tifa is up front, and
I like how it also looks old. So I guess this
It
is their way
does.
of being like, this is in the future. I guess.
yeah,
Keys are in there, and there's gas, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The
It's
keys
immediately-
and gas are in there.
Yeah, it's like a display thing. Like if you were trying to escape a mall as like a bunch of
Yeah,
like,
that's essentially
armed
what's
guards
happening,
and stuff,
yeah.
like that you just get into the Honda that they have there and just like tear ass out of there.
And yeah, and so we do see Cloud then on this fucking
He
motorcycle.
like whips it.
Well, I mean, because we just saw the wheel, and now we do see him on the motorcycle, and it's Cloud riding this fucking thick ass motorcycle down the stairs, and yeah, he just whips it, right
Whips
in
it
front
around
of
right next to the truck. They get in. I think Tifa's driving, right?
Tifa's driving,
Yeah.
Eris' shotgun, Barrett and Red are hiding in the back. Well, Red almost doesn't make it. He hops
Yeah,
on-
and
they-
Barrett Barrett like beckons him in like,
Yeah,
with an arm
yeah.
wave. It's great.
Yeah.
Weird thing though, I was thinking like, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but like, I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, in Japan, don't they have the steering wheel on the other side, or is that just Britain?
I don't know.
I think that's Europe mostly. I think Japan is mostly on.
Fact checker.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I was like, oh, that's weird. Is this supposed to be like America? It would make kind of sense
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
sort of based it off of,
Yeah.
but who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway, Tifa's driving on the left side.
And then they drive upstairs.
Yep.
They instead of going downstairs toward the exit of the building, they actually go farther up. And they drive out one of the windows, and so they have an epic action shot of Cloud driving through a broken glass window on this motorcycle and leaping out into the air and landing on the highway.
Yep.
Right.
And then it shows you the like the controls, and it shows you what your model looks
Yeah,
like.
we come out of the CGI scene into a little like instructional screen.
Yeah.
Right. There's no like background or anything. It's just pitch black, and you see Cloud and then instructions.
And I think that that's a pretty good indicator of why people have been saying for decades that they should like remake this game.
Yeah.
Because like these FMVs for the time were like incredible, and it's like holy shit. And then it's like, oh, why didn't they just make the whole game like that? Which obviously they couldn't at the time, but like literally as long as I can remember, it's like, oh, they're working on a remake of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, people say that for a long time.
Quick quiz. Do you know what the motorcycle is called?
I do not.
Crazy bike.
The motorcycle is called
Melvin.
the Hardy Daytona.
The Hardy Daytona. That's so good.
That is so American. I love it. It's like, what's the most American sounding motorcycle?
Daytona.
That is a Hardy Daytona. Well,
That kicks ass.
so in this,
So you're on the Hardy Daytona.
yeah, and in this instructional screen, I'd just like to point out The top says, how to control the bike, what the mission of this upcoming minigame is. You have attack on left, attack on right, and on the bottom you have start game. And the thing I didn't notice the first time I played it, menu and form party.
Yep.
Because the first time I played it, I was like, no, I'm just going to play a minigame. It's fine.
Yep.
I'll just drive through.
I did the same thing.
Yep. But there is something that happens immediately after the minigame.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be a good time to go ahead and equip your party.
Yep.
Figure out who you want to use just in case a boss battle were to come right at the end of this and you don't have the option to...
I completely forgot about that.
We just had a boss fight. There's no way we got another one.
Yeah, we had
coming up.
two right in a row. There's no way there's another one.
My mind was in the same exact place, and I was like, I think I knew that there was a boss at the end of it, but for some reason I didn't think I should
do it right now.
I changed my party, I added the members of my party that I wanted.
Yeah.
But I didn't do anything with materia.
Yep.
So that led to a difficult thing. But anyway, we got the first good mini game in the game.
Yeah. How do you feel about this minigame?
I love
it and hate it at the same time.
I love it so much.
Really, because it is wildly jank, but it is actually pretty fun. The camera angle is great.
Yeah.
Because essentially you are Cloud on a motorcycle. The truck with all of the rest of the members is on the road with you, and you're both just screaming down the highway. And you can move forward, toward the not necessarily the top of the screen because the camera is behind you, but farther away from the camera, closer to the camera, or left and right. Right, so you do have quite a bit of movement options, and you can swing your sword on the left of the bike or the right of the bike. And the object of this game is to hit the other motorcyclists, the Shinra MPs, that are driving up on these motorcycles trying to take out the truck. Right?
Yeah, and everyone has a health bar. And when you get hit by a motorcycle, it decreases Cloud's health. When the truck gets hit in certain points, it decreases the HP meter for every party member. Also, I really like the sprites that they use for this. Aerith's, for everyone in the truck, I feel like they're smaller sprites than are used anywhere else in the game.
Yeah.
And Aerith's is just very cute.
Do you mean the pictures?
Yeah.
The pictures of their faces. I was going to point that out too. Yeah, they're different profile. I call them profile pics because that's what today.
The buddy icon.
Yeah, and they are different. This is the only time that we see these, and they're really good. But they're a lot smaller. Right? Yeah. But Eris's especially is more cartoony. I would say maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily look like her, but it's good.
Yeah, it's still really good.
So anyway, you get through that. Is there anything in particular you guys want to talk about?
I would like to point out that because the road is curving all over the place, right? It is not a straight path. It is doing all kinds of turns and
kind of got some F-Zero vibes. I feel like.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cool scenery.
Yeah,
a lot of cool scenery, mechanical.
But playing, do you think that this is actually going in a circle and then we're not actually knowing, just in terms of level design?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, it does end at a point,
but it takes so many right turns and and uphills. It kind of make illusion that you're constantly going. But I think until it does a quick little cutscene at the end.
I wonder if Boundary Break did that. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that YouTube channel, but
that would be something interesting to look at.
I wouldn't be surprised just to kind of conserve assets. Instead of just making an infinite road.
We'll check into that and maybe talk about it next week.
Yeah. But what I think is cool is that the camera, as you're taking these turns, also turns with you.
Yeah.
And so so you get this very it feels very action packed because the camera's always zooming in on you, zooming out, rotating, and so it's very wild.
In comparison to games that came later, like Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, which had driving mini games.
Yeah.
This, I feel ages a little better than those did. Which
is probably so.
On the Dreamcast, it feels so much better in retrospect.
But so we get through that, and at a certain point, if there are any more motorcycles on the screen, they fall back, right? You may have so this last time I played it, there were none on the screen. I had just beaten them all, and so none came back. Yeah, God Gamer status. No new ones came onto the screen, but if there are ones on the screen as you approach the end of the track, they'll fall back.
Yeah, that happened to me. I noticed that there was an orange guy coming up.
Yeah,
I think there's different tiers of enemies in this mini game. There's red guys that go down with one hit.
Yeah,
I think there's blue guys who go down with two, and then there's different colors that might take more.
I also like at one point, it just happens once, but the camera flips from behind you to in front of you.
Yep. and the game is still happening. Like there was still a
you're still moving
motorcycle
around.
attacking my truck. I was like, no, my friends.
Yeah, and like you're still attacking to Cloud's left or Cloud's right, depending on the button you're hitting. So it's actually backward for you at that time.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's neat.
One of my favorite things to do in this mini game is knock down a bike and have it like fall over and drift and hit another one behind it.
And
knock that
take
one
out
down.
a bunch at once. Yeah.
Very satisfying.
Very cool. So they fall back, and we are coming up to the end of the road. Like literally, the highway just ends. It just has not been built out, right? Like a construction zone.
Yeah, it's got that like caution tape sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Which might explain
painted
why
on the
nobody
ground.
else was on the road.
Right,
Yep.
right, yeah,
Because
yeah.
this road goes nowhere.
Yeah. And behind us, rolling up real quick, is like a steamroller with spikes on the roller itself.
Mm-hmm.
So real menacing looking thing.
This is Motorball.
Motorball.
I just can't not hear murder ball.
Motorball.
Murder ball.
I'm curious. That might be an Alita Battle Angel reference, which is the sport in Alita, which the wheels.
what, Motorball?
Motorball, which
Really?
the wheels actually kind of look like the ball they use, which is kind of like a death sport kind of thing.
I think I was also thinking of Rollerball, which is that
Rollerball.
movie from like the 2000s that had Paul Heyman from I think he was from WCW. It had him as an announcer.
Is that where they had the ball with the spikes in it?
I don't even
Or is
know.
that Murder Ball?
I don't know.
Anyway, Motorball is the enemy.
I
It is
just-
a steamroller with spikes on the roller.
I just
6
hear
wheels.
Paul Heyman's voice.
Yeah, and 6
screaming
wheels.
it.
6 spiky wheels.
Yep, it's a beast.
Yeah, so this fight sucked for me.
Because you didn't equip your materia?
Yeah, if
ahead
you
of
remember,
time?
I mentioned that Tifa was blocking the save point. I was like, I'm not gonna need it.
Yeah.
I'm a god gamer. It's gonna
Yeah.
be fine. I got here. Cloud had the elemental attack of poison, which
Yeah.
does 0 damage to
Oh,
this thing.
no.
Aerith and Tifa had no materia.
Oh, no.
So I pretty much just used the Curtis strat and used hypers to get Fury on Cloud and Tifa and use Aerith to
So you can continually limit break.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was just limit breaking him, and I had used my last grenade on like the fight before, and I was like, oh my god.
Oh, man, that does suck.
Yeah, it was fun though.
So this guy does a lot of damage, is his thing. I noticed, like, this last time I was playing it, he can easily do a third of everybody's damage in one turn.
Yeah.
So he's rolling into HPs the whole battle. He's a little bit slower. You can pop off all your people's attacks before he'll get
Yeah, you
one.
you definitely want to make sure you're healing enough.
Yes, yeah.
And an
'cause
interesting thing too is it starts as a back attack fight.
I wanted to talk about the mechanics of back attacks. I actually wrote it down in my notes.
Yep.
This does start as a back attack because he is driving up after you at the end of that minigame. So they begin the battle with everybody facing away from him as though he's rolling up on him. And he gets an attack before the battle even begins.
And it does, I think, twice as much damage.
It does twice as much damage. So in Final Fantasy VII only, it doesn't work in any of the other Final Fantasies. As soon as you see a back attack coming, you can hit the run buttons, like both run buttons at the same time real quick before the battle begins, and you'll turn around and face the right way.
Okay,
And
that is in 7. I do that
it
every
is.
time, but I thought it was 8 for some reason. But
No,
it's
this one.
just one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm going to do that every time, even if it doesn't work.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works in 7. That's the one it works in. So if you, as soon as the battle begins and you're facing backward, if you hit both run buttons, you'll turn around, face Motorball, and that attack will only do half damage. Which at that point, that attack is nothing if it only does normal damage. So you're fine starting out.
But another thing, which I don't think we talked about it too much, but there's the order system where you can place what person is in what point. So like you can put Barrett in the back row of the fight. So
there's 2 rows.
He takes less damage, but he can do ranged attacks, so he still does enough damage. Like, but if there's people in different rows, like they take different physical damage depending on which row it's in. Yeah. So with this, I always have Aerith in the back row. So in this, Cloud and Tifa were now in the back row, and and Aerith was in the front
row.
So
so
Aerith just became my attacker in this because she had Bolt.
Oh, really?
And
I went ahead and changed. I went ahead and used the turn to change everybody's row out.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as the battle started.
Oh, right, yeah, you can do that in the battle. I didn't even think of that.
In the menu, we have attack item.
You can hit over,
you hit
right?
left.
Yeah,
left, and you'll be able to actually change the row that each character's in. So the very first thing I did was I just went ahead and changed rows.
That's and
set everybody up correctly.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you hit right, you can have a defense command where you can take half damage from physical attacks that turn.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I'm
he's
all
got
about that DPS. I'm like every turn has to do something.
Everybody front row. So this guy, like I said, he does a lot of damage. He has a lot of cool different moves. Where he'll like spin around and shoot fire, or run over everybody. Like he's got a lot of really cool ones. A diverse set of moves.
Yeah, and he changes his positioning like the previous boss fight that we saw.
Right. When he does, I was gonna ask when he does the it's called like 2 arms or something like that. Some move that has the word arms in it.
Yeah.
He does that multiple times in a row when I was fighting him. Is that how that works? Did that happen to you?
I don't know. I was focusing explicitly on not dying and having to do the motorcycle thing and the Rufus fight and all of that over again. So I like didn't really take good notes while doing this.
That's fine. Fight. Yeah. Oh, I just noticed he can do some of his moves just one right after the other and not even need to charge a gauge or anything.
Yeah, like he attacks a lot.
Yeah.
I did try using the Loco weed in this fight just because I was like I couldn't do anything for a lot of my characters.
Right.
And it's a great animation where it plays like a weird little jingle version of the Chocobo song.
Yeah.
And then like there's like a little fat chocobo that like goes down on the thing. It's very cute.
That's amazing. Hey, I've never used that. I never really got into using the items.
Yeah.
Until I saw the speed run and realized that like the Molotovs and grenades are choice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. But I mean that's about it for this boss. I mean he's cool. It's a cool boss.
It's a cool boss. It's especially tense because you could easily be in a bad situation because you just fought 2 bosses in a row.
Right.
3 technically if you count the helicopter one.
Somebody had better have restore materia.
Yep, exactly. Like you could easily just get into a point where you're like, oh, I need to actually I need to go back and do this
through all those
again.
Bosses. Yeah,
which is fine because it's all fun. But
yeah, right. Yeah, it's a very good section of game. It's very action packed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we take care of him and immediately
you finally hear the fanfare song.
Yes.
So it's finally like all of the music is since like done. Escaping the jail cells.
Yeah.
It's finally music like back to normal, and
you
get another star pendant, which is good, and it makes sense too because I couldn't do any damage with Cloud because he had poison elemental. So it makes sense that this had a star pendant on it because
fair enough because he's protected from poison. Yeah.
So now we get a new theme playing, and we're in a new location.
Yeah. So we're on a screen that we're only going to see once to the game, which is the end of the highway. We see we see the end of the road, and the camera's kind of pointing out into the distance, right? Mm-hmm. And we are on the end of Midgar. Like this road ends at the city limits of Midgar. There's no more housing. There's nothing else past this point.
Yep.
Right? And we'll find out when we drop down here in a second. We're at a screen that we could have seen earlier, so we're actually right now directly way up, but we're over top of the church right now.
Yeah,
is actually where we're at,
which makes sense given the last time that you were at the like up this high at like a Mako reactor.
Yeah, right.
And you fell into the church. Like it's all still contained within that area.
Yep. So that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
And
I think the theme that starts playing here, I think it's the main theme that plays in the overworld.
Is it the one that's a little bit more quirky? The bum 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 bum. Like,
it's more melancholy. And I was like scrubbing through today the things and like comparing the two, and I couldn't figure it out. But I think it's a like sadder part of the main theme that plays in the overworld. But
yeah. So Barrett says, "Well, what do we do now?" Right? Because like we've done all this stuff, we've
can't really go back anywhere.
Yeah, and we know that Sephiroth's out there. That the stakes have really ratcheted up.
Shit has gotten real.
Shit has gotten real. It has gotten complicated, as Cloud says earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, and Cloud says that he has a score to settle with Sephiroth.
Right. And so everybody decides to come along with them. Obviously, Barrett and Tifa are part of Avalanche, so they're going to be going with Cloud.
Yeah, Barrett's motivation is cool too because like when Cloud's like, "Oh, I got to settle this score," Barrett's like, "Will that save the planet?" And, and Cloud's like, "It seems so." Like,
right.
And it's cool too because you kind of see Cloud shifting away from just being like, "Oh, I'm doing this for money and stuff." Like he now kind of has a purpose beyond just like either helping out Tifa or doing something for money.
Right. Do you have the individual answers to those questions? I didn't write them down. Because I know that when they ask Eris, they're like, she says like, "Oh, I'm gonna go out there and learn things." Yeah. Right. And someone asks, "Do you mean like things about the ancients? Is that what you're saying?" And
she just says about the ancients.
And she says ... many things. Yeah. So, God, I love her so much. She's so good. Such a good character. So we climb down a a wire,
The same wire
a
that
shiny golden wire of hope, to get to be outside the city limits now.
Yeah.
So we're actually outside of Midgar, and there's one more screen before we walk into the wide world of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, and I think that this is right outside of Sector 7.
It is.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there's the 7 on the doorway, which...
We can see this screen earlier in the game if you're snooping around enough, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right
if you
around
go
the
far
church,
enough.
right?
Yeah,
outside
past the
church.
church. I think
Yep.
we mentioned it on
Yeah.
a previous episode, but we're outside the dome now.
Yeah, so we're outside, and we get to control a cloud here. Like, and our party members are standing around, right?
Yeah.
And we can go talk to them each individually. We can talk to Tifa and Eris and ask them, like, "Oh, do you hate traveling? Are you sure you want to go?" And
I think I have all those answers here. If you
I'll let you go ahead. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. So Tifa says, like, I guess this is the start of our journey, and you can say, you hate traveling, ? And she says, I don't know, but I don't have anywhere else to go, so
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't really matter whether I like travel to travel or not, which is great. I love that, like, I got no place else to go.
Yeah. Right.
And then if you say the other option, which is, it's dangerous, are you sure you want to go?
Yeah.
She says, but it should be all right as long as you keep your promise.
Ooh, that's right. Yeah.
Going back to the promise about her savior coming to help her out of a tricky situation. And then Aerith says, you know what, this is my first time that I've ever left Midgar. And you can say, really, are you worried? And she'll say, a little. No, maybe a lot. But I have a bodyguard, right?
Yeah, and
So,
I do know that if you say it's dangerous, are you sure you want to go? She just says, I knew you were going to say that.
Yep, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then with Barrett, I don't think Cloud interacts with him really. It's kind of Cloud. And
he asks,
Aerith.
do you think that if Marlene is going to be safe?
Oh,
he
right.
Says, do you think she's going to be safe? And you can say, yeah, she should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he takes your word for that.
Yeah.
And
and
so-
and
yeah, go ahead.
Aerith chimes in and says, he's like, oh yeah, she's with Aerith's mom, so she should be safe. And then Aerith says, oh yeah, like she said she didn't want to stay in Midgar anymore. Maybe
Okay.
it's for the best.
You're
so
right.
like her mom was also like, I got to get out of this place.
Right. So
You can also say like, I'm not sure if Marlene. Is
I
gonna
didn't
be
say
okay.
it. I didn't have the heart.
You can, and Aerith just says, "Stop it, Cloud. I'm worried too." And I think Red 13 is the only. He basically
He doesn't
just
have
says,
an option. Yeah.
Yeah, he just says like, "I will follow you as far as my hometown, and then I'm out."
Right.
So he's going to travel with you until you get to wherever he's from.
Right. So the way you progress from here is you try to leave, and then because like if you keep talking to them, they'll just give you those options over again. So you try to leave, and they kind of have this discussion. Okay, well,
We need a leader.
We need a leader. And Barrett says, "Of course, that could only be me." And he starts like punching the air.
Yeah, he starts-
like shadow boxing. Yeah, and then like Eris kind of walks forward and goes, "I think it should be Cloud."
And he gets a little dejected about it.
He does. He just says like a swear word that's like obscured by symbols. ... All right. Go northeast to a town called Calm. If something happens, we'll meet there.
Yeah.
That's what he says. Now, here's a question I want to ask you all. I got a scene I've never gotten before here.
Really?
I did not know this could happen. Who did you take into your party?
I took Tifa and Aerith.
And what happens when you do that?
Barrett says, I thought he says something like, I thought you'd do something like that.
Okay, all right.
Later.
What did you do, Alex?
I don't remember. I didn't take note, but I do have all the options here.
I picked Red and Barrett because I didn't have their secondary limit breaks, and I was like, well, I want to get their second limit breaks before I get to Calm, so I'll take them, put Fury on them, and we'll just get them. And Eris and Tifa are like, that's a very odd choice. Like, are you sure?
Oh, that's
And
pretty
then Tifa's like, well, have fun with the boys, I guess.
Yeah, we're having fun with the boys.
Boys' night.
The boys are back in town. Dude, Thin Lizzy would love that party.
Hell yeah.
Boys are back in calm.
The boys are back in Calm. Yeah, so like, I'd never seen that before. I had never seen that they say that. They're like, oh, odd choice.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
That's good. I guess like any choice that you make has like its own unique dialogue. Because like
I don't
Barrett,
think
like
the other ones do they? Like, if you,
I think there's only the two options. So if you get just the girls or just the boys, but if you do a mixture of them, there's nothing happens.
Oh,
I think.
okay.
So if
yeah.
you do like Eris and Red, or if you do Tifa and Barrett, or
okay,
yeah, it's great that Cloud just kind of like Freddy from Scooby Doo's it. He's like, I'll take like the hot girls with appropriate.
Right? Yeah.
And Barrett's just like, I thought you would do something like that.
And I like that, like, if you don't, like, they're surprised that you didn't.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
what?
And then Red and Bear are going to go find a kitchen and eat a really big sandwich.
It is. It's
Holy
Scooby-Doo.
shit, this game is Scooby-Doo.
It's Scooby-Doo at this point.
Like Zoinks, man. Genova's out.
That's what the swear words are whenever they
just
it's Zoinks.
Genova was old
I
man
have to go
Wilkins
off mic
all
for a
along.
second while I laugh.
Good God.
Oh no. Okay. Lord. So from now on, when Barrett swears, I'm just gonna say Zoinks instead.
God damn it. Oh man.
Okay.
So anyway, onward to calm.
Onward to calm. All right. So
Oh, another thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
There is a different song playing here. It's called "On Our Way," according to the YouTube playlist
on
I was listening to.
Spotify, also known as "Ahead on Our Way" is by some listings, but
Nice.
it's a good song. It's a pretty song.
Very good song.
we get out onto the world map. Is that the one you're talking about? The world map song? Or?
No, so the world map,
Yeah,
just
world-
in that little section.
Okay,
there.
okay.
But then the world map, it switches back to
Yeah.
the main theme.
And the main theme is great.
It's so good,
It-
and it ties into a lot of other themes in it.
It does, yeah. This theme is used so many times throughout the game. What I love about it is that it goes through many iterations of
Yep.
the main line, and only the first one is optimistic sounding. Like there's kind of this positive, calming sound to being out on the wide world for the first couple seconds, and then
it gets a little anxious.
yeah, they continually repeat the theme, but they recontextualize it with like these like dissonant, complicated chords, right? A lot of like chord extensions, and it's very anxious sounding.
Yeah.
It's like very uncomfortable.
Nobuo Uematsu is the master.
Oh, it's so good because like that is the state of the world,
Yeah.
right? Like we're going into a world that's not so much like, yay, what an adventure this is going to be. This is like, oh, this is a
We're
dying
uncertain,
planet.
and there's
Yeah.
work that has to be done.
Yeah, and we're gonna learn in Calm here just a second or whatever that like kind of what is becoming of nature. Somebody mentions it there. It's not a good thing,
Yeah,
right? So like yeah, so onward to Calm.
yeah.
So we get into Calm. Immediately our party leaves us and goes into the inn. And they
Yes.
say that's where we're gonna meet at. We're all gonna meet in the inn. So I wanted to go ahead and talk about Calm today since the portion before wasn't too long, and the next episode is probably going to be a long one because of all the content.
Yep.
So I kind of wanted to talk about the city now. So
Yeah.
okay, what do you think about Calm?
I think it's interesting. You get like a little more flavor about what people in the world are thinking. Like, there's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions about Mako energy.
Right. Yeah. Actually, the very first house on the left has a person downstairs who's like, "Hey, don't you think that it's great?" And the person upstairs is like, I'm sure
It's
that you
pretty
think it's
fucked up, right?
fucked up."
Yeah.
Yeah. So like people living in the same house having wildly different opinions
Yeah.
about it.
And it's the younger one who's like, "Nah, this is a little fucked up."
Yeah, right. Those fucking boomers, man. Can we talk about the ether situation in Calm?
There's a lot of ethers. They're like Mr. Burns levels of ethers. Just like, bring me my rag with my ether.
Yeah, bring me my ether. Yeah, it's wild. Everybody, like every house but one, I think, has ether in the cabinet somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Just help yourself.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I felt bad about just rooting through people's stuff and taking their ether. Their
The-
sweet ether.
the one guy that doesn't have ether in his closet
this is
has
a
a
good-
dog in his closet.
And it barks at you and it runs out. And then
Yeah.
it goes up to him and whimpers.
I know. This
So
guy just
cute.
locked his dog in the closet, and you come and open it up, and he doesn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah.
So
You
one
know,
thing. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and that guy says something.
He used to live in Midgar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, things are really getting bad there.
Yeah, here's that, yeah. There was somebody in the upstairs of one of the houses says something about what Mako reactors do,
Yep.
and says a lot of the plants and animals have been disappearing at rapid paces.
Mm-hmm.
So we get the idea that, like, Mako is indeed the life stream of the planet. Without it, animals die off, plants die off, you
Yeah.
just have desolation.
You can actually see that too if you're looking at the environment on the world map.
Yeah, around
Where
Midgar,
like around
it's just
Midgar,
black.
it's barren. It's
Yeah.
just
It's like burned.
Yeah.
It seems, yeah.
Yeah, and then like the further out you get from it, I think it's also darker too. Almost like there's like
Yeah.
a shadow over that whole portion of the Midgar area,
Yeah.
which is what it's called when you like go into the menu.
Yeah.
But like you can make it to like if you go, I went south of Midgar first, and there's
Yeah.
like a little shore there, and there's a little bit of grass, but then everything around it is just like completely dead.
Yeah.
But and Calm is tucked away, and it's kind of like there's like a little cliff that's kind of like keeping it. Like I noticed that it kind of hidden it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. There is like a little cliff,
So-
a little bluff almost, or something that like. Yeah.
And it's by another shore, and things are.
a little bit better.
It's a little greener there.
Yeah. But yeah, so we do get evidence here, like not just people telling, or like, because thus far we've heard it from Barrett, right? That like,
Yeah.
oh, using Mako energy irresponsibly is bad for the planet. But here we're actually getting some evidence that like, yeah, it really does. It really actually is bad for life on the planet.
And the one kid who's talking about that said, things were better when we could play with the animals.
Yeah, right. One individual says a man in a black cloak with a huge sword came through town recently.
Yeah, I wonder who that is.
Indeed, yeah.
It must be a friend of theirs.
And this is like, just to like, I feel like this is not a spoiler. This is more of just like what FF7 is. There's a lot of plots and intertwining that kind of go between the different sections of Final Fantasy VII, but it is a chase, right? Like, that is like, I feel like that's the primary motivation of everything, right?
Yeah.
Is everyone is chasing Sephiroth. He
Yep.
has a mission that he's going on that he's carrying out, and Shinra's chasing him, and we're chasing him, and we're getting into fights with Shinra along the way.
Yeah.
And each of us are trying to kind of like get in each other's way and prevent them from getting to Sephiroth, right?
Exactly.
But
It's like National Treasure.
Yes.
I haven't seen National Treasure.
I haven't seen that movie, and several of my family members were extras in it.
Really?
Yep.
Did you?
Including my dad, who would always say, like, oh, Nick Cage. Yeah, I was in a movie with that guy.
Well,
They were
anyway.
filming in Philly, so.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I
Like
guess that makes
open call
sense.
of just like,
Yeah,
I don't think you can see any of them in it. I don't know.
No. Sephiroth's a real treasure is all I'm saying.
He's the real National Treasure.
He's the real Dark Nation.
Yeah, but like this is a thing that we're going to see multiple times into the future of going into a town and people saying like, "Oh, somebody with a black cloak and a long sword was just here."
Yeah, I like how that guy is also like, why doesn't anyone believe me?
Yeah.
And then he says, I'm so lonely. Like, I just want to hang out with this guy. I know
I
it's
like,
an important mission, but I feel bad for him.
I like the little girl upstairs in one of the houses that says, "My older brother is so stupid. He's so embarrassing. I could puke."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I bet that's what my sister thinks about me too." So.
Oh yeah. And he's just running around the room like it's a slightly bigger house than the other ones that we saw. And he says, "When I grow up, I'm going to be a soldier. That's why I'm training so hard now."
Yeah,
And
right.
He's just running around his
right.
room.
One of the people says, like, asks you, "Is it true that Shinra makes monsters?" Mm-hmm. Right.
Ooh.
Which I think is interesting. I kind of feel like we're supposed to go into
The end.
Cloud's backstory before that, because it gives us the option to say it's true or it's just a rumor.
Yeah.
And we'll hear about what Shinra may or may not be doing.
Yeah.
with
So I
monsters.
said it's true.
So did I.
And this kind of shows how dire the situation is, where she says, "Yeah, well, either way, as long as we use reactors, we can't stand up to the Shinra. Like they're
Right.
like Shinra has its boot on everyone's neck. Like,
Right.
It's this. There's a running debate in this town of like if Mako energy is good or bad, and they're like, oh, it made everything so convenient. And then
Right,
other
right.
people who are looking at it more like subjectively are like, yeah, it's convenience, but also like a lot of bad shit's happening.
And I would say, like, maybe in a month of episodes from now, maybe 4 or 5, we'll see evidence of a place that doesn't use Mako energy.
Yep.
So we'll see what a town would be like without it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the idea that, like, there's no way you could stand up to a corporation as powerful as Shinra without using Mako energy to do it, but they're the ones who provide Mako energy, so how could you stand up to them?
Yeah, and then I like the guy who's upstairs in the house where his wife or whoever is like asking like, oh, does Shinra make monsters? Like, what, we can't really do anything about this, but this is horrible.
Yeah.
Her husband's like, I got my health and enough to eat. All is well.
Yeah, right. Fucking centrist. No, there's a man near the Mako reactor in the middle of town. Also, this is a smaller Mako reactor.
Yeah, is that what that is? I was wondering. what that was.
Yeah. So it's a little small one that just kind of fuels this town because it's not a giant.
Yeah, it doesn't need to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a giant city like Midgar. This is like a village, and so there's just a small one with a couple dials and a little tower on it.
Yeah.
And just small. There's an individual near there who asks you if you've heard about the goings on in Midgar.
Yeah, what did you say to this guy?
I was like, what are the options? Are
Another
like,
thing to
oh,
mention-
you're pretty smart. I said, you're pretty smart. Yeah.
What did he say to that?
He says, Just between us, I heard it was the Ava what-do-you-call-ems that got President Shinra and his son. Which makes me think that he thinks that Shinra's son is also dead.
So there's another. If you choose the other option, he talks about that a little more in depth and says
Really?
that Rufus is hurt. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is funny. I love when people mispronounce avalanche. Like the one guy, like
Ava what-do-you-call-ems?
yeah, the one guy I think back in like Wall Market or something calls them avant-garde.
Avalanche.
Yeah. So yeah, but if you talk to that guy, you can also say like don't care. Let me pull this up. Yeah, so I said don't care, and he says don't care. If you're going to travel, you best keep an eye on what Shinra's doing. Shinra's leading the world around by the nose, and you guys are just going to sit back and take it. And then, oh wait, maybe it isn't him who says it, but someone else says that they heard that President Shinra is dead, and Vice President Rufus is hurt.
Okay, all right, yeah.
But yeah, I guess that guy thinks Rufus is dead.
Yeah. And so what I really like about Calm as a town coming right after Midgar is that this is the first time that we've been outside of Midgar to see anybody else's opinion in the world, and opinion is divided right down the middle in this town.
Yep.
Like the first time we get to, half the people think Mako Energy's great, the other half think it's bad, and there's a lot of doubt in the air about how it works, and everybody's kind of unsettled about this news of what's going on with Shinra and Ava, what-do-you-call-ems, right? So I like that. I think it's good characterization. I think it's good world building.
There's another guy who says, thanks to the Mako Energy, Shinra Inc. develops for us. Everything's more convenient now. And then he says, maybe a little too convenient. I love how they keep using that.
Yeah. Maybe a little too great.
There's also a guy who gives you a tutorial of how to use the world map. I did not take notes on that because I'm like, eh.
I must have missed that guy. I didn't talk to him.
Yeah, he's like wearing like a green shirt or something. He says like, tourists, huh? Here's a few things you should know.
Oh, no, I did.
Handy when you travel around the world.
Yeah.
But another good NPC that I liked talking to was there's a kid standing in like the doorway of a bar.
Yeah, it's talking about his dad.
Yeah, and it talks about like not just like we already know like they've kind of like slammed it into our face like what all of this Shinra stuff is doing, but this is a different thing that how it's affecting like everyday people where he says that my old man was a miner, but he couldn't go to work after monsters started appearing in the mithril mines.
Yeah, I actually have a screenshot of his dad in the bar talking about the mithril mine.
Yeah, because he says now all his dad does is sit around at the bar getting drunk because like, you know, this guy had a job and then kind of became obsolete. Like his job sort of became obsolete, and also like it became severely unsafe because of the monsters that we know Shinra is making. Or we will know, or I mean, we saw Genova, so we know.
Yeah. Also, the bartender there says he heard that Avalanche was crushed by Soldier. He's like, Soldier finally took care of him.
Oh, yeah.
Also, real quick, in the store, you go to the stores, buy some new equipment and stuff like that. And there's 2 more materia here you can get, Earth and Heal. Earth for Quake Magic. Healing will take care of status effects. And I figure as we go along through the game, we'll kind of just like maybe keep a small running tally on like, oh, we can get this now, we can get that.
Yeah, I agree. And there's also like the item shop, which I think just is standard fare at this point.
Speaking of which, the 3 or 4 ethers that you get in this area, you can sell them for enough money to buy all one of each materia and your upgrades.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So that's what I did. I just got all the ethers, sold them, and then just bought all the new stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because the weapon shop has a lot of good like equipment that at this point is... Unless you got that striking staff from Aerith, like...
I forgot to equip it, and I didn't realize it till this point. I was like, this shouldn't be stronger than what I have now. And I looked, and I was like, oh, I forgot to put it on. So, whatever.
Yeah, so you get really good equipment for everyone. I think Barrett's weapon, the cannonball...
Yeah. It's his first non-projectile weapon.
Yeah, so it's like he just replaces his gun arm with like
with a fucking cannonball
and just like bashes people with it.
So just the ball?
Yeah, it's just the ball.
Huh.
Yeah, so there's a lot of mithril, which makes sense because this was a mining town, I guess, for mithril.
One more thing I want to point out before we go on to the end of this. There's a treasure chest, and you can get the Peacemaker here, right? And like everybody in this game only uses one style of weapon.
Yeah.
And Peacemaker is a gun.
Right? Not like Barrett's gun arm.
Right. This is it looks like a shotgun or something.
Or like a large revolver.
Yeah, right. So like at very least, we know that at some point there could be somebody who's going to join us who
Using
can
a different
use this.
style of gun.
But we have it way early.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because we'll meet that NPC later, and it's a
Right.
total and not NPC party member.
Yeah.
And it's a totally optional one.
Yeah. There are multiple optional characters, like main characters, and the thing that's so like wild about that is that they are like pivotal to the story. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe not pivotal because you can do it without them.
They
but they're
add a lot
so
to it.
important to
Yeah.
it. It's not just like you get these extra characters and they sometimes have something to say. Like they play major roles in how this.
And
ends
yeah,
up
and they're not
unfolding.
like trivial to get either. Like there's things that you have to do to get them. Like, you have to
Right.
go out of your way and do
Right.
certain things in order to
I
get them.
think the next episode we could talk about one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's Calm, right?
Yeah.
And we're coming up.
wha-
Go ahead.
I think
Whoa.
the one guy, I think the dad that you're talking about. I
Yeah.
think the screenshot that you have is that him saying, "I'm stinking drunk."
Oh, I don't have that. No, I just have him saying, I used to work in a mine called the Mithril Mine, because I was going to bring up the fact that like that's a mine we're going to be going to.
Yeah.
Shortly
yeah.
enough.
But if you talk to him again, he just says, hick, I'm stinking drunk. It's the
He's my
freaking weekend.
Baby, he's about to have him some fun. So yeah, so we're ready to go back to the inn, and I figure that we'll end with like the very beginning of Cloud's speech there or whatever. Yeah. You walk up into the inn, the rest of your party members are there, and they say you're late, right?
Like you were stealing peacemakers from chests again. weren't you,
Yeah,
Cloud?
you were stealing all the old people's ethers. Like,
You have a problem, Cloud.
yeah, right. And so,
Thus begins the intervention.
yeah, so Cloud kind of sits down. He's going to begin going into the story of him and Sephiroth.
Yep.
And just as a good cliffhanger, right? Cloud says, it was 5 years ago. He was 16 years old at that point. He and Sephiroth were friends. And that's kind of where we're going to leave off today.
Yep.
So thanks, everybody, for listening. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else you guys want to say?
No. What we got planned for next week?
Next week, we're going to go through Cloud's backstory. I think we could probably do the backstory and the Chocobo Ranch.
Sure. That sounds good to me. That sounds
Probably.
really good.
Because we're not going to talk that much about the Chocobo Ranch. You get a summon and then there's a kid who's a jerk to you. There
Yep.
we go. Now we don't even have
Spoiler.
to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah,
Take a week off.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there is a lot to talk about. with
There's
the
a lot
backstory.
to talk about. And replaying it has become my least favorite section only because I know what happens and I'm like, I don't need all the background. But this is probably the most important scene of the whole game because we're going to be referencing it constantly throughout the rest of the game. They're going to be coming back to this flashback over and over and over and recontextualizing it like 4 times.
Yep.
We're going to see it many different ways from many different perspectives.
Yeah.
So that'll be next time. We'll do that and try to fit in the Chocobo Ranch.
Yeah.
I think we could probably
I think we
do
can,
it.
yeah. There's,
Yeah.
like you said, not much to talk about.
Right. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or else. Or, you know, I'll give you a shout out.
Yeah, give us a rate and review us on iTunes. It helps a lot with the rankings. Helps people trust that this is a good show. And you might, there's some good stuff up there too. Like this guy who says, the F stands for profanity word. I do not play video games because they are expensive and they distract me from my schoolwork. I thought I played Donkey Kong once, but in actuality, a man in a gorilla suit threw a brick at my head at a Shakira concert. When I attempted to give the internet program a 0-star review, Russian hackers changed it to 5 stars. I've emailed Steve Jobs several times to remedy this issue, but he has yet to contact me back. If this continued, I'll be forced to have the police arrest the Apple company of computers. Also, one of the hosts of this podcast once came to my house and broke my toilet. Curtis.
Nope.
I'm sorry you didn't like the show, but thank you, Russians, for giving us a 5-star review.
No, so that was my buddy Theo. I'm pretty sure I meant to text him about that, but I'm bad at texting people. So shout outs to Theo. Thank you for the 5-star review. I think he's the only friend that I've gone to his house and broken his toilet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was like, have I broken anybody's toilet? It sounds like something I would do.
going back to Simpsons references.
The Mr. Snrub.
No, well,
Okay.
after that one was me.
Was that you?
Yeah, that one was me. But no, after I broke Theo's toilet, I didn't know. I was like an awkward teenager, and I didn't know how to tell him that I broke his toilet.
Yeah.
So I walked into his room and I said, "Marge, someone broke the toilet." And he laughed about it. And then like 10 minutes later, we heard his mom like scream. She's like, "The toilet's broken. It's overflowing." And I was just like, I should probably go home.
Oh no.
He was like, "Wait, dude, you were serious about that?" I was like, "Yeah, I tried to tell you."
Yeah, I just didn't know how to say it.
So yeah,
That's incredible.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, DJ Cutman, Chris Davidson, for our intro remix.
Feature music on this episode was by Nobuo Uematsu. You can find a link to the Spotify album for this great game soundtrack in the show notes. It's great.
You can catch us online on Instagram or Twitter at everyfnff. And
Tell your friends, hit the streets. We don't pay for advertising. We're not that good.
And you can see me in hell.
piss marketing.
I knew I had this right.
I'm trying to like
I still have the picture of
Plosives.
Homer.
off
Piss-
axis,
piss-
on axis, off axis, on axis.
Piss
Piss,
plosives.
piss plosive, pissive,
Plosives.
plissives,
Piss.
snake pliskin.
Snake eater.
What a
Snake
thrill.
eater. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's start from the sleep.